support this important work that Mel has started to make the world a more sane place, we will stop singing.
We
should not be making promises. This is Joe speaking. We should not be making promises that everyone can keep. I don't know that I'm able to not be able to sing.
Stop singing happy birthday.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All I'm seeing right now is the sick of the 40-minute time limit thing. I don't know who's driving that.
40-minute time limit? Who's seeing?
Oh, I'm viewing Phyllis's screen.
Oh, okay.
How did I end up viewing Phyllis's screen?
We're all delayed.
Screen share.
Oh, I thought that was Lucas taking over the screen.
Nope.
Hey, nope. Phyllis, can you tell us how how we could stop being sick of the 40-minute time limit? Let's make it up. It's okay. Oh wait, we gotta unmute Phyllis. Hold a minute, right there. Look for a button, Phyllis. I gave you a button to click.
I don't know what I'm doing.
and you real.
I'm going to have to get out and go in again. Possibly.
You can just hang out here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hold on a second.
We need accidental shared screen.
We need wait music. Hold on. All right, everyone. Keep calm. The emergencies exits are located here and here.
Keep calm and squid on.
Exactly. Folks from all over the globe who are here on our Zoom, on our Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else that this is streaming, just a friendly reminder that while we do have a program happening right now, we actually have a much larger adventure today. We are on hour 10? Are we at 8? No, 9 of a 24-hour Squidathon and this Squidapalooza. And whatever kind of word that you want to create with Squid. You know, I don't have the schedule memorized, but I do know that one of my passions is karaoke, and that's going to be happening this evening as well. And so we'll have people make sure that we confirm those times for you. There is a Facebook page. I believe that I'm trying to see what it is that I put behind me. Let's see. On my virtual.
Anything, if you go online and look for SQUIDminders, we are SQUIDminders. SQUIDminders are us.
Exactly. So with that SQUIDminders in mind, that's the place where you're able to sign up to the Facebook page, start to log in and get that engagement with SQUIDminders, and be able to also, if you have that karaoke passion like I do, you'll be able to participate. Unfortunately, I'm not sure about the time, actually. If someone can confirm the time of that karaoke party, is it on the same time as it always is, John?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. So for me here on the East Coast, that starts at 10 p.m. Is that correct? So it's still 7?
I have to interrupt, and I have to say that everybody who's hearing us from anywhere, please email us at squidminders@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you quick.
So SQUIDminders
at gmail.com.
Oh wait, it's over my shoulder right here. In case you were wondering where to find it, it's just right over my shoulder right here. SQUIDminders@gmail.com. And Mr. Gupa is a person who will help you get all of the information right on top of it. And I'm just wanting to check in, Dr. Mel. Where are we in the agenda? I know that you wanted us to be able to change our background, so that is certainly happening in the background. Is there something we want to share with the audience while that comes together?
So first of all, I would like to acknowledge that anybody who got the agenda that said, here's our plan, I mean, intention, but we have already fallen so completely of that schedule. Anyone who was here to see Dr. Philip Zimbardo from 10 to 10:30 will have been disappointed that he was out the door at 10:05 because he was making a quick fly-through appearance today. He is absolutely available to meet with us another time. And if you guys want to spend time hanging out and talking with Phil Zimbardo, email us at squidminders@gmail.com, and we will let you know next time we are sitting down with him. It is one of our rare, wonderful privileges that this guy is so excited about getting SQUIDminders out there that if you want to hang out with us and him, just email us, send your questions for him, because yeah, he's really cool and he has lots of profound thoughts on things. So when it comes to the schedule that was posted in the email, and wherever else it's been posted. Yeah, it's not that. We're gonna
I know, and as many of us know, especially in the pandemic, and have really had a chance to engage with the Zoom feature, you know, we know that things come up, schedules change, and that's actually one of the awesome things is that we have multiple countries that are represented here. And so while we have a schedule that is constantly in flux, the awesome thing is that it is recorded and streamed, so we know that nobody is going to miss a single moment of what he did bring. He also brought us the Dr. Mel for the Nobel Prize hashtag. I think we have to make sure we get the language on that. There's a lot going on here. And so while you may have missed the moment live, to be honest, because of technology, it is not lost for very long. Dr. Mel, why don't we're going to reset the room. We're going to tell people, what is Squid? Why is Squid? And how is Squid?
There we go. There we go. Okay. So to your point about scheduling, we are signed up for doing John Chen's regular karaoke night, starting at, you said, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m.
Exactly.
10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We are going to be doing Squid mindfulness-based karaoke, quarantine karaoke, here in this room. Come back anytime this evening, and open mic. If you want to sing, if you want to speak, if you just want to throw down a few words of your own spoken poetry, that is how we are rounding out our crazy Squidathon tonight. In between
Dr.
now,
Dr. Mill, let's bring in Tyrone Thompson. Name that squid.
When somebody comes into our room, what we do is we cheer them on and we welcome in the room. So everybody, no matter where you are, say welcome, hello, come on in.
Hello, come on in.
Tyrone. All right, we got Tyrone Sealing.
Tyrone's getting here, and Fred is still in the house. Hi, Fred. I saw you there, and then there was all of this other stuff.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Tyrone. So Tyrone, another one of my amazing peeps who could use some visual description. Joe, you are on it with the visual description. Do you want to tell him what he would be seeing now if his eyes were in that space of...
Actually, this is how we're gonna. It's a really great point that Dr. Mel is bringing up. When we're looking at access, especially not just for the people we know are in the room, but when we're thinking about for anybody who's joining us, is that very often not everybody can access the same things we can, right? Sometimes they may have equipment in different ways. Maybe they're coming in by phone. So Fred and all of our guests who are coming in who may not be able to visually access the space. This is a Zoom room, so we have many rectangles filled with people. On Dr. Mel's request and with John's help, we have been putting that background that Fred also has on his background, which has an amazing rainbow squid, yes, with an email signed SQUIDminders@gmail.com. The idea of how to squid our squid brains. Whenever you notice something's wrong, can you? And I will add this. I really strongly feel that deaf people need to be a part of the creation of sign language version of this. But you know what? I'm going to walk us through this because I think that's also going to bring Dr. Mel into the next step, which is what is Squid, why is Squid, and how is Squid? So everybody, copy me now. And Fred and anybody who is not able to see what I'm doing, I am holding my hand in a fist, and my thumb is forward, and the front part of my fist. Like you might, I'm trying to think of how you would describe that. Like if you wanted to break your thumb while punching somebody, I guess. So the thumb is in the front, your hand is in a fist, and that is the letter S.
Joe, I'm going to interrupt you just long enough to say, Ty, this is, the visual description is for Ty. Fred is one of our sighted allies.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Well, the thing is, one of the beautiful things is if we're taking this into consideration, we don't have to worry about who can and can't. This also allows all of our differentiating learning to happen because some people are more oral, some people are more visual, so this actually benefits everybody. So this is the letter S in sign language. And on the sign behind us, it's red stop. So we're starting with an S. The next one is the letter Q in sign language. And so this is going to be a little harder for me to, I know how to describe it. Imagine if you dropped something between the couch cushions, like a quarter, and you were going to use your pointer finger and your thumb to grab it, and you were just scooching those fingers down, but you're not doing the grabbing, you're just pointing them down as though you're about to catch that quarter. That's actually the letter Q. That's in yellow under the word question. So we're going to go back. I repeat a lot. We're going to do the S. We're going to do the Q. Right? And I'm going to remind you folks that some people have actually been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, 12 o'clock, 12 midnight last night. So I'm doing the repetition for you, for me, for everybody. The next thing we're going to do is the letter U. It is, it's like doing the number 2, but the fingers are together. Right? So we have those facing up. That's the letter U. It's represented in green as understand. Right? So we're going to go back to the top. S for stop. Q for question, U for understand. Ooh, we're doing great, guys. And now we're going to go to imagine, which is your little pinky finger. So you're holding your hand again in that S shape, but your little pinky finger is up. And so it probably, if you feel it, if you can access it, it probably feels like a little I, right? Like a little letter I. That's for imagine. And then now this is the one that people sometimes get a little go backwards and forwards on. It's like, imagine if you're pointing at something, right? So you have your index finger out, but actually we're going to move it so that it's faced up. The other thing is we're going to also make sure that our fingers are rounded so you can see the letter D there. And so that is the letter D. We're going to start at the top. Ready? S, Q, U, I, D. And you see, and actually I just saw Dr. Mel. I'm just checking in. John, do we need to have Fred joining us here in the spotlight?
He's already there with you.
No, I know. I'm asking if he's supposed to be here.
Dr. Mel invited him up.
Oh, yeah.
He's shaking his head no.
No. So if someone can just bring him into the audience, awesome. So just also because I know that our hands are small, so if some people have limited vision or are having trouble accessing the screen. So we're just going to look at S, Q, U, I, and D is the pointer. So Dr. Mel, you're doing exactly the thing that a lot of people do. Strangely, it's kind of almost like a dyslexia. Some people do F, D, F, D. I don't know what it is. It's really beautiful how the brain works.
Language dyslexia.
I know, right? So, and I'm not coining any terms. I'm just making things that are comparisons so we understand. So that is SQUID. And so when we're looking at the stop, question, understand, imagine, and decide, Dr. Mel, tell us a little bit more about why we're doing this. What kind of impact does this have?
So part of my backstory on all of this is that we have a lot of stuff in education talking about how we're learning critical thinking. The curriculum is filled with ways to do more critical thinking. But I got really stuck on this idea of it. We learn a lot about different analytical tools, but we don't seem to learn when to use them. And the whole nature of how do we find that threshold of this is when we need to stop our autopilots. This is when we need mindfulness most. So the idea of SQUID and how to SQUID, stop, question, understand, imagine, then decide, it all starts from this basic precursor of noticing something is wrong, noticing that there is a reason not to just do autopilot. Our lives are lived on autopilot. 98, 99, 90, 99.99% of what you do today, you're doing without having to think about it. But when you're having that conversation with somebody and something happens that hits an emotional nerve, what you say next, the word you choose to use next matters. And it might matter a little bit more because if your emotions have been touched and are a little edgy, your choice of words can go badly if it's on autopilot. Anybody here, show of hands, how many people here have ever said something that you've regretted? You can't unsay it. So the whole concept between the analytical thinking and SQUID is to notice that there is something going on, to notice there's something wrong and that we need to stop and ask questions. And the first questions we ask are of ourselves. When we have paused, if we're in this conversation with somebody else and something's not quite right, and we stop and we listen and we ask ourselves questions, we then can generate better questions to check in with the other person to see why we think we heard what we heard. And I could go so far down that path, but I don't want to hog the mic, even though it's mine to hog.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. You know what? You and I are having a conversation because we're going to get some information out of you before you move the mic to other people. So one of the things I just want to identify is that right now, you know, we're in a very new space in our society. And the beautiful thing about the Squid is that it is cross-cultural, cross-languages, because everybody has to think, everybody has emotions. Even if you know, we don't know how people are growing up. We don't know what kind of information people are getting. And so what this is it's a tool. And it's a wonderful tool for us to start to develop a behavior that is consistent, right? Is something that someone can get to, but it's okay if they don't, because it allows us to access that moment, that space. We're seeing a lot of things. I just, you know, from in my life, the idea of somatic, that things that are happening inside the body. You know, we've been in a world that has been moving so quickly. We find that we're ignoring the body in terms of that larger conversation. So I think this is very well timed as we see, you know, people really looking beyond just whether it's medication only or therapy only, but really that we have to be in tune, and that is something that we all can do, that we all can share regardless of abilities, of cultural background. I love it. You know, and so you're right. So there's that moment. So we have what is Squid? Squid is a tool, a 5-step tool that can be reached from the smallest child to the oldest, you know, most experienced human. We have the why. It's to also to ride the wave of the pandemic and the fact that we've been, all of us, on this is a global moment that has allowed us to stop. And I mean, you know what it is? It's the stop, drop, and roll of our emotions. If we think about the fire that you're like, stop, drop, and roll to get out of that emergency situation, we're looking at Squid, right? Am I right in understanding this? We're looking at Squid to be able to say, if I were not to think, then I would ink, and there'd be ink everywhere that I have to clean. And if any of us have ever cleaned up an ink stain, we know it takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort. And you know what? I want to be doing other things. So if I stop, question, understand, and imagine, and then decide what I'm going to do, I could maybe bring my needs, my inking, to an ink-proof room. I can bring it somewhere where they're prepared with the right cleansers, the right scrubbing brushes. Maybe someone has an ink-proof wall or space for me so that I can express what I need to express in a safe way and be able to participate. John, I see you've come back into the screen. How can we help you today?
Because we have some new guests with us, and I believe that Dr. Mel may want to bring somebody on. So I believe we have Soban Anamir, I believe, from Poland. And did you want to bring Priya on, Mel?
Yes, Priya is in the house.
All right, and with that, I will step back and allow Dr.
Joe,
Mel.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. This dialogue is exactly why we're here. It's exactly why you're here in the house, is because you're fresh to this. It's less than 24 hours in your head, but you get it. You get how simple it is, and you get how powerful it is. And that's part of what we need in order to change the world, is we have to have simple tools that can go around the world, that can be a way for people to be able to access their higher functioning brain power. That's right there. Most of us have some manner of access to it. It's just about when do we trigger it? Well, we have to learn how to hear, how to see that yellow light.
Absolutely. And so I just want to wrap up. I'm not sure how much more time I have. I actually am, I'm many things. I am the will fairy, first and foremost. I am passionate about generational wealth through people getting wills, making sure that we're dealing with it, because that goes back to that value, how we see ourselves, how we interface in the world. But I also just want to say that, especially in the social justice, racism, all the isms, this is such a powerful tool, because very often the reaction is an ism, when we can look at being able to stop and think before misspeaking, wrongly speaking.
We are on a screen that I don't recognize. There we
Yep.
go. Thank you.
And so with that, I will be coming in and out, but I just wanted to, lend my hand in terms of doing some
Okay.
in the
Before
fly.
you go, Joe, before you go, can we do the 5 letters?
Well, we're going to start with you because what we do is we show, what is it? We do, we tell, we share. What is it? There's like a whole process. So I've already said and I've done, and now it's your turn to show me.
Okay. So I've got S
Mm-hmm.
for stop,
Right.
Q for question,
Right.
U for understand. I do not know the gesture for understand. What is?
It's a. And again, my concern is that this becomes codified into a frozen language. So
Nothing about Squid is codifiable. But
I
these
really-
these are ASL words. So what is?
So let me just make my disclaimer that I feel that with anything that if you're going to be looking for sign language, deaf folks, we really need to make sure we're engaging the deaf folks to be the generators of their language, of their culture. And so these are just what we call a gloss word. We're just marking something in space. But I know that Dr. Mel's integrity will make sure that she's Z and Zay, that Z is reaching out to the proper community and engaging them for the proper language.
And so far, based on all of the research we've done so far, we've got S is for stop, Q is for question, U is for understand, I is for imagine. How did you? What's imagine? Imagine
like a dream or something above
okay,
you.
Imagine. And D is for decide.
The same, yeah, decide.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. It's been a privilege and a pleasure having you here in the room doing so much of the Q&A with us. So thank you for that. I look forward to singing with you later tonight.
I hope I can make it. I think I will because karaoke is happening after Rocky Horror, so I will be interpreting Rocky Horror tonight, and I also need to take a nap, so I will be in and out. I'm so sad that I can't just stay on all day long, and
you can be on the live stream. You can catch it later.
Absolutely.
I look forward to singing with you for the rest of our lives. So.
Absolutely. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and I don't know Priya's timeline, but I know you wanted to take a picture. I wanted to make sure that I'm a part of that, and so we are at the hour of 54. We do an on the clock group picture. I will be present for that, and so I'm partially tuning out. This is Joe Welch out of Massachusetts, and I am the Will Fairy, and you can find me at thewillfairy.com. It's great to meet you all.
Say thank you to Joe and put your hands in the air for Priya coming on stage.
Priya, you need the image. So can somebody drop the background?
Where do I find the image? I don't know where to find it.
It'll be back in the chat as soon as somebody else can drop it back in the chat. Then you can download it.
Gotcha. Okay.
He joined recently. It's not. You just repost it to the chat, and she'll be able to grab it. And I want to give you a great big shout out, Priya.
Oh, thank you. Happy birthday, first of all. I'm so thrilled to be here. And every time we talk about Squid, I always get super excited. And I remember being so fascinated to hear everything you had to say when I first met you, probably 5 years ago. We've come through a long journey, and I'm so grateful that we're still friends and we still keep in touch, and you are doing amazing.
So there are pictures of Priya wearing this hat and rocking it because Priya was everything in the Let's Get Squid stuff done down in San Diego in 2015, 16.
Yeah.
So Priya, first you need to get the background fixed on your screen. And then I have a couple of questions for you. I also want to introduce you to the managing director. I want everybody to give a big shout out to Abhishek Gupta in Kolkata, India, because you know Squid is going to India.
Yes, for sure.
Abhishek is the project manager.
Where are you, Priya? Where are you living now?
Global.
I live in San Diego, but I moved here from India 5 years ago. And funny story, how I moved to the US is because of Dr. Mel, because I wanted to do an internship with her. I I think I watched a video of you talking about Squid, and I reached out to you, Dr. Mel, and then you sent me an assignment to complete. I did that, and you were like, oh my God, you should come and we should like work together in the US. And that's how I moved to the US. Now I've been here for about 3 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
update your background. There's a picture in the chat so that you can have the ubiquitous.
I might have to leave, change my background, and then join back, right?
Then
Oh,
never
you can
mind.
do it here, Priya.
We can do it. We
You
can do
can
it, Matt.
do it.
I
We
can do it
believe in
without-
you.
without-
Use your squid mind.
So I didn't know I could do that without leaving the call, but let me try. You could do it. You could do it.
Okay, while you're figuring it out, I'm just going to gush about you a little bit more. So,
Well,
So-
Priya, let me check. Priya, do you need help? I can help you out. Because either you
I-
can gush Mel, or I can help her do the background, or
Go
we
for
can
it.
do both at the same time.
If you want to help me do the background, please, yes. But-
Okay.
and
Did you download the
Phyllis,
picture?
let's do
Yes,
Phyllis
I
at the
did.
same time. So,
And your 2 minutes to photo, Dr. Mel.
2 minutes to photo. Let's get them on the background if they can.
I posted
Okay,
some
Priya, have you
instructions in the
downloaded
chat.
the photo?
Yes, I have downloaded the photo.
Okay, so now go to the bottom left where it says stop video, hit the little caret and say choose virtual background. Choose virtual background. Do you see that? Oh, you stopped your video. No, you don't. You want to hit the little caret arrow thing next to that.
The drop down. The drop down next to stop video.
Actually
Oh,
goes
okay,
up.
okay. Choose a virtual background. Okay.
Yes. Okay, now over to the right, you see the plus to the right of the word virtual backgrounds?
Mm-hmm.
Click on plus and it should say add image.
Oh, that was easy.
1 minute to go. No pressure.
I think I got it. Oh my
Click
God,
the
no.
image.
It's in gray and it's not letting me select it. That is
Click
weird.
on it. Click on it.
I did click
Click
on
on
it. It's gray and it's not even an option for me.
Are you logged into your account?
Yes, I am. That
Okay.
is weird.
We will find out in just a second. The other part too is you got to download the picture as a PNG. You sometimes have to add the letters PNG after it because it downloads without
But for
a
this
click.
pic-
You got 30 seconds.
For
Otherwise,
this picture, let's pose this picture whether you have the background or not. So we've got Phyllis and Priya. Don't worry about having the background.
I'm
For this
sorry, I'm
picture-
trying.
No
What's the-
problem. I want your hands in squiddly format somewhere in the frame where you can see them and we can see them.
Phyllis, you're doing it perfectly. It's amazing.
The ability
Okay, here we go.
to-
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, smile. 1. Nailed it. Very good, Dr. Mel. Great job.
Thank you. I really find it fascinating how much the squid hat glitches. It's in, it's out, it's in, it's out.
Isn't that like life? I don't know. It
Very,
seems kind of
very,
out of
very
flow.
neat.
Colorful
virtual
for
background
Zoom.
that does it.
Too much color for Zoom.
Dr. Mel, would you like to see this photograph?
I would love to see this photograph. Everybody react to the photograph.
3, 2, 1. Unmute your mic and say something about this photograph.
Yes.
Party on, dude.
we're awesome.
This is not your typical Zoom meeting, is it? How many-
No.
I gotta stop doing the zombie thing when we're doing the squid thing.
I almost didn't have my face in when the picture was getting taken. Like, yay, it worked. Woohoo. I could see my
Maybe-
face.
Maybe that's all of us dancing Thriller.
Bye, Joe. Thank you for visiting. We'll see you later.
Thank
Everyone
you,
unmute
John.
and say bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
See you later before I have to go do other stuff and then go to work.
Okay, back to you, Dr. Mel.
Okay, so I
And
was
Elle is leaving too, so bye, Elle.
Oh wow. Okay, Elle. Give Elle the microphone one more time because this is her chance to say happy birthday to her mom.
Mel, grab the
Yeah.
microphone.
Okay, hello. Happy birthday, Mom. I'm super proud of you. It's wonderful to be here with you today, and I look forward to seeing what comes next for this wonderful project. Take care.
Hey, so is she a squidling?
I guess so. That sounds about right. I think that's official now.
She's extremely patient. She's practiced a lot of patience having a mom like me.
Oh, hush. All right. I love you, Mom. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye, Elle.
Bye, Al.
Great to meet you all.
All right, Dr. Mel, it's you and Priya. So why don't
Okay. So
you
me and
introduce Priya?
Okay, so Priya, you said you wanted to log back in order to get that background. Do you want to?
If it's not a problem, I can just stay on
Yeah.
and not
We
have
are on a
background.
24-hour clock. I can let you solve that problem before I start asking you a whole bunch of squid questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the way I remember us first meeting is that I had gotten involved with Dr. Philip Zimbardo and the Heroic Imagination Project, and I had been involved enough to start trying to build a volunteer program there, and that you had emailed them and had not gotten a response back, and that I emailed you and said, hey, you appear to be interested. There was a reason that you emailed him. There's a backstory to how you learned about Zimbardo, the Heroic Imagination Project. Can you tell us that story?
Yes, for sure. Great question. So two things happened at the same time. One was I was doing an online course on social psychology where Philip Zimbardo was talking. They showed a video of Philip Zimbardo talking about the social experiment that he did at Stanford. And at the same time, I was in India. I was walking to, I think, to work, and I saw an accident that happened, a road car accident that happened, and I saw someone on the road bleeding, and people were surrounded to see what was happening, but nobody helped. And I wanted to help, but I did not know how to help. And I'm sure that's how everybody was feeling. They wanted to help, they didn't know what to do, what the right thing was to do, and who to reach out to. Or maybe everybody was surprised and stunned and shocked, and there were a lot of feelings and emotions going on. So I'm like, how can I deal with the situation better? If it happens again, like what am I supposed to do? Like, what are we all supposed to do? We need to be educated in knowing what needs to happen when things like this happen right in front of our eyes, where we want to do something, but we feel helpless. So I experienced that. And at the same time, I was doing my social psychology course, and it was like a perfect match. And he was talking about bystander effect and all of that. And then I'm like, I need to reach out to this company and find out, what I can do to learn things and not be a bystander next time. And I emailed someone at Heroic Imagination Project. I didn't get a reply. And then I saw Dr. Mel's picture with her email ID in the I think About Us, or the teams that were part of Heroic Imagination Project. And 2 days later, I received an email from Dr. Mel saying, oh my God, thank you for sharing your story. It's a great story, and I'm so proud of you for wanting to learn more, and I would love to help you with it. And then we started chatting. I think we met on Skype. Zoom wasn't popular back then. And we were emailing back and forth, and you gave me an assignment, which I don't remember what it was, but I remember finishing that assignment, sending it to you, and you were like, okay, you need to come to the US and we're going to make it happen.
We should go back and look that up. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I wonder which of the assignments that I love getting to students, but I want to thank you, because you are one of the souls. The energy of having you in my life really gave this juice, and we got so much more done than we had before you got involved, and we got so much less done than we wanted to. And it's this thing where, why hasn't Squid already taken over the world? Why do we not have this habit of using our squid brains and thinking before we ink already? Because the ideas have been in my head since 2008, 2012 for the poem and that stuff. But it's really hard to go from that idea phase to global outreach. And having you here today is like, John was warning me, at some point you're going to cry. So Priya,
I love you. And thank you for giving me that opportunity to come learn with you. And it was such a great experience. Every day felt so meaningful. And the things we would do, we would go to schools, we would go to hospitals, we would go to Balboa Park. We did so many things to educate as many people as we could. And just looking at Dr. Dr. Mel's passion, and like how we did all the, and I also remember Dr. Mel, we used to watch Dr. Joe's videos as well, like, and see that what he was talking about. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'm not sure if everybody knows who he is. He's a neuroscientist. And everything that he was talking about, the TED Talks that he was giving, was so similar to what we were doing. And we were like, did he steal it from us? You know? So, and just looking at how passionate you were got me so inspired about getting the message across to India as well. And I remember working on an article with you for a parenting magazine in India, and that just put me on a completely new path in my life. And I became super interested in psychology, neuroscience, brain science, and all of that. And I am here where I am today because of you, Dr. Mel. And I so appreciate you. And we don't talk as much as we used to when we work together, but I think about you often, and you are one of the greatest gifts in my life, and you are an inspiration to me. So
thank you. Thank you. And likewise. So, and we're reconnecting now, and oh my God, oh my goodness, oh my gracious, there's so much to be done, and we need you and your energy. And in those moments where it fits, I can't wait for you and Abhi to be able to talk about what it's like to bring Squid to India. Because as I understand it, well, there are a lot of people in the United States, there are a lot more people outside of the United States. And the possibilities of taking this globally are so crystal clear right there. One of the things, how many people here, we've got 10 people in the room right now. How many people here have watched Squid Game? Not yet.
I looked at it, a review of it, just because of Squid. Normally I wouldn't be interested, but because of us.
Yeah, so it is extremely violent. It is difficult to watch, and it is absolutely the right time for SQUIDminders to come out at the same time as Squid Game. In telling Zimbardo about it, it's like, I've had several people say, oh, shoot, aren't you guys, contradicting each other? I'm guessing that's overshadowing you. And it's like, Squid Game is a survival game story. There are 458 contestants, only one will live all the way through. At least that's the premise of the story. And the nature of decision-making, it is about making decisions well, quickly, in order to be able to survive. So they tie in beautifully together. The idea of being able to, he's in the house. How's it going?
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't want to butcher
Happy birthday.
your name. Say hi and tell us how to say your name correctly.
Yeah, hi, my name is Wojciech.
Wojciech is in the house. And where are you dialed in from, Wojciech?
From my home in Gdansk, Poland, on a nice, rather warm October evening.
Beautiful. It's an October evening here too. Actually, it's October afternoon. We are gosh, I don't even know what time it is anymore. We started at midnight my time.
I know. I'm late to the game.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, only a few of us have been here for the whole game. We were just talking about Squid Game. Have you binged on Squid Game yet?
Not yet. It's my thing on the to-do list.
So it relates really well. And one of the things that Zimbardo said was, get in touch with them. Get in touch with them now. They're working on season 2. This is the most popular show Netflix has ever had in its history. It's being that frequently watched. So I will warn you, anybody who wants to watch this, the violence that gets really grim starts at about minute 44 in the first episode.
No spoilers, Mel.
No spoilers.
And I will just say, because Thorne admitted that he watched Squid Game because of SQUIDminders. Anya, if you're listening, this is a marketing opportunity. Reply to my LinkedIn message. Thank you. I'm working on it now.
Thank you. So I won't do any of the spoilers, but if you're watching it and you want to avoid seeing things you can't unsee, it's okay to watch like this. Sort of like when you're watching any of the movies that have those gory medical scenes, you can do this and you'll get through it and you'll get back to the rest of the show. That one part around the 45 minute mark in Squid Games episode 1, that was for me the worst one. After that, I was able to deal with all of the other gruesome stuff. And the thing is, it really, here's a squiddly question for all of you, is why do humans find violence so attractive in our entertainment? We find it something that we don't want for our personal lives, but we want more of it on our television. We want more of it in our video games. That is one of those bizarre realities of this brain.
Mel?
What is it about this brain that makes that way?
Mel,
yeah.
I would like to give some input. When you were talking to Priya and you were wondering why this hasn't been gone worldwide yet, Squid is actually being used in counseling. So when I was reaching out to some people who might be able to come to this event and telling them this is what Squid is, the reply was, this is what we are doing in counseling. So Squid is being done. It's just not being done publicly. It's been going on privately. So when people have problems and they go to seek out counseling, then they're told, okay, this is what you do. You stop, question, understand, imagine, and decide. So we need to bring this out publicly, which is what we're doing today when we're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and also here in the Zoom room. We want to take Squid out. Of course, Squid is important in counseling. I do not want to take away that importance, because if you do need counseling, you should go to counseling. But this very basic concept of squidding your brain and being able to deal with the basic problems we deal with every single day, it's not known. Some people can figure that out on their own, but a lot of people just can't, and they act impulsively. And if they don't know about Squid, they need to know about it. It needs to come out of just the counseling situation, and it needs to be publicly known and taught in schools, in businesses, in families, so that we can have a saner world, as you had described in our introduction.
Thank you so much for that. I want to know more about who's using it in counseling too, because we want to collaborate. Anybody who is listening to this anywhere, we want to collaborate with getting the concepts that have been in development for over a decade into the practice. So who wants to pilot test it with who? How can we help adapt it? If English is not the first language of choice, then here's how we're working on doing it in other languages. It's about having a good metaphor and a set of steps for when something feels wrong, can you stop and ask questions? And I tell a lot of people, I don't need you to memorize all 5 steps. I just need you to remember that when something feels wrong, you need to be able to stop and ask questions. That's the difference between reaction and response. That's the difference between autopilot and mindful consideration. Is engage the neocortex in some mindful consideration by asking questions. That's where questioning happens, is right up here. And thank you for the shout out, Urzi. I also want to say Professora Pulpo, because Urzi is also fluent in Spanish and is helping move Squid into other languages. So there was one of the other things. So we want to work with anybody who's interested in working on this together. We want to work with the Squid Games people to talk about how to take games that are a little less lethal, but keep practicing this better and better decision making and that mindfulness when we need it most. Do not step.
Mind is already revving into thinking of a good acronym, which might make a good Polish word, but which might include all the elements of Squid.
Here's the criteria for making it into any other language. Find a name of an animal that's 5 letters long.
Okay.
Any animal, ideally one with tentacles, but any animal will do. 5 letters long, and the first letter goes with a word in that same language that means stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the second letter goes with the word in that language that means question.
Sure.
Fill in the rest. But in the beauty of this is it can work as a concept with any number of words. We can invite kids around the world of all ages to come up with our own. We need step-by-step ways of intervening when our brain is starting to go offline. And one of my dreams was to squid. It's a verb, how to squid. So if I see you having a bad day, and I want to be able to help you as your friend, as your peer support, I can say, hey, Thorn, do you want to squid that out? It looks like something happened. Do you want to squid? And if we have this shared language, then we start with step one is, okay, that was me asking you, do you want to stop and go through a dialogue? Peer counseling.
And to take squid as a concept global, I said once to Mel that we need a zoo, which is a collection of different animals for different languages. I now think that should not be a zoo because that implies, that we lock them up and we want to set them free.
Yeah.
Safari Park.
I'm not certain, but I think there is an African language, or Simba, we got the S, is for lion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're saying zoo. Is that gonna, nope, not unless I turn off this.
Nope. Yep.
I am turning that off so that I can show you my, there. Okay, so one of the things in this like many years of development is we've got squid, which is a metaphor for our nervous system. It's our emotional mind. It's any number of things. I can see your squid. You can see my squid, even if you are blind. When you walk into the room, when someone walks into the room, you can see their vibe because of the mood that we bring in to the room with us. With your eyes closed, you can feel how other people in the room are vibing. So that's the idea of the squid metaphor. But in the SQUIDminders collection of curriculum, we also have the creatures of habit. Let's see if I can do this. So in the creatures of habit, we have bird and hippo, toad and cat and ant. And each of these animals represents another aspect of what's going on inside our mind. So there's one poem I can read, and then we can keep freestyling it. So at this point, it's Q&A. Anybody who has questions or wants to throw in an idea, just keep raising your hand and jumping in. It's a nice, comfortable conversation. But may I read to you at this time? May I read to you? There's a choir of creatures inside my head. There's a choir of creatures inside my head. Sometimes they sing with great harmony. Mostly they croon, singing way off key. There's my squid representing my emotional brain. My cute little quall cat trying to keep me sane. My librarian hippos in my stacks of memories. My bird likely distracted by whatever it sees. My toad croaking wants when I wish it would sing. And my ant autopilots doing their thing. It can get pretty noisy listening to each of them call, but at least I'm learning how to understand them all. Some of the poems take a little while to work out, but the concept of teaching neuroscience to kids, because wouldn't you like to understand what's going on between our ears before you hit puberty, where all of the emotions and the hormones just make life so much more difficult. So being able to use animal metaphors as a way of connecting between really complicated scientific stuff that you have to go to grad school to comprehend, and what we need in our everyday lives, in our houses, in our families. Blah, 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 blah.
Lucas has got a commentary to
Go
add.
for it.
Yeah. So I have a question, but I wanted to start with a comment that's been sort of buzzing around in my head, in my squid maybe, and that is the you in our 5-step process, the understand. There's a great quote from one of my favorite slam poets, Sarah Kay. She said in one of her TED Talks, I write poetry to understand what's happening to me and to understand what's happening with the world. And I think there's something beautiful to also at the same time use poetry to explain what's happening. So good on you, Mel.
Thank you.
The question I wanted to ask is, I've read somewhere a long time ago about this process of evolution of empathy, how we went as a species from empathizing with our family, then with our tribe, then with an even larger group. And now we're kind of pushing the limits of our other creatures on this planet intelligence. We're seeing dolphins and squids and octopuses. Octopuses, okay. Thank you. So we're, do you think that the squid method can help kind of push this process of empathic evolution forward, and if so, how?
An excellent question. And it starts again with that intentionality of if our goal, if our selfish interest is we want what we want, and our dependence on other human beings to get what we want is a factor in that, then we need to pay attention to how other people are feeling just from that selfish interest alone. So if we're noticing that something seems wrong in how people are responding to us, that desire to have empathy skills, you don't even have to inherently care about the other person. One of my mentors in emotional intelligence talked about trying to teach engineers to care about the emotions of the other people in the room. And I don't want to diss on engineers, but it is one of the stereotypes that engineering doesn't go closely in hand with emotional concern. And the way he presented it really made a ton of sense. It's like, so as an engineer, do you like data? Yes. Yes, we're very fond of data. As a scientist, I love data. So if the person that you're
I'm sorry,
is having, there's all of the content of the conversation, but you've also got all of what's going on in the facial expressions and the body language and all of that. Are you saying that you don't want to pay any attention to that data? Because that data is telling you whether the person that you're talking to is receptive or not, whether they can hear you and are resonating with what you're saying or pulling back away from it. The reason that you want to know emotional intelligence skills is that you can accomplish more if you understand other people. Then on top of that, you can have a more satisfying and loving filled life if you connect more. And that means recognizing that that other person deserves as much consideration as you do, and that much more so. That's the part where we come from that heart-centered communication stuff of how can we all help each other in that win-win-win category?
That sounds like the selfish theory of empathy, and I love it.
It helps to have a selfish theory. It makes it a whole lot easier to sell.
Wait. Wait a minute. Say that again. The selfish
theory of empathy. Why should we be empathetic? Because it's in our own best interest.
Yeah.
That just reminds me of the paradox of altruism.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Describe what's the catchphrase with the paradox of altruism?
Oh, I don't know if there's a catchphrase. I mean, I'm just saying that altruism is a myth, because when we're altruistic, don't we feel warm and fuzzy?
It is. I will absolutely second that. I believe that altruism is defined as doing something with no expectation of reward, and I completely denounce that. If I feel good, if I am getting a chemical buzz out of having done something that no one will ever thank me for, I still got the buzz. I clean up bathrooms. If I am in a restaurant or a place that has a bathroom that's starting to get a little messy and I can do even a tiny bit to clean up without getting gross, I'll do what I can because it makes me feel good. It saves, I've been a restaurant worker. I've cleaned bathrooms by pay. It's not the fun job. I just want to save somebody else a little grief, but I don't consider that altruism because I get a warm fuzzy off of it.
Can you repeat what you had said about selfishness?
Empathy and selfishness?
Yes. What was that quote that you said? The definition of, I don't remember exactly what you had said.
In the live stream.
I know, but I can't rewind that right now.
I know. Anybody want to like
the selfish concept of what?
Empathy.
Selfish, yeah, empathy.
The selfish concept of empathy. And what's next?
It's a good idea. So I know we were saying it really well a few minutes ago.
So I can try, and Mel, you can you know, copy edit. What I got from what Mel said is it pays for each individual to have a well-developed sense of empathy and understand what the others are feeling. And it is in each person's best interest to develop that. Because thanks to that, they can function better in a society. That's what I got.
I also, to add to that, we learn by being empathetic. And if we can connect with other people, we learn from their behavior and we try to replicate it. So it ultimately helps our survival. Let's just put it that primarily. So I think it's very beneficial to be empathetic because you can learn from others.
So we have Wojciech here, who is a Wikipedian, just like Mel and myself. And we are at hour 11, yes, John?
11 and a half, yeah.
At hour 11 of a new and I think quite profound project that may help change humanity, but all of us, all three of us, are also doing our small part for the other most important project for humanity, which is Wikipedia, which has been around for 20 years. And I would love to hear Wojciech and Mel exchange some thoughts on how Squid can help the challenges that we are seeing building the sum of free knowledge and that resource for humanity. And sorry for putting you on the spot, Wojciech, but you did join willingly, so.
Yeah, I did join willingly. I sort of knew what I can expect, right?
So
I'm absolutely fine, but I also dare to fail, you know, in my clarification.
So yeah, so we've talked a little bit about Squid before. Have we talked about Squid and Wikipedia and what's going on behind the scenes in the conflict?
That's also exactly where I would see the model.
And I'm gonna do a quick interrupt.
Okay.
We're live being streamed and recorded, so what we say should not inflame the stuff that's already in flames. How can we help bring
Right.
Wikipedians?
I would see it as a model of or a thing to go back to if there is a dispute, right? So stop question. These are the first steps to these are the first moves, in my opinion, to take a step back. Question everything, question also myself, question my own motives. Is what I'm saying makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you still got the mic, so keep going.
Yeah, but
I'll give you a little time to think, Wojciech, and give a little context to people who have not joined us in creating or co-creating Wikipedia. The unfortunate consequence of having hundreds and thousands of people collaborate on the internet to build something together is that there are going to be conflicts and there are going to be fights and there are going to be feelings hurt. And we are dealing with all of that daily, including all the baggage of working together in the same project for 20 years and having had each of us multiple of these potentially Squid Ink moments, right? and many of us working on Wikipedia are carrying the baggage, the consequences of having inked at a lot of people in different times in our Wikipedia volunteer work or professional work in some cases. If Wikipedia had Squid as a concept ingrained in every contributor, every person who helps out, how would that change the interactions, do you think?
Łukasz, can I take a step back, like 8 years back or 7 years back? Some of you might be familiar with the figure of Dariusz Siemielniak, who's currently the member of the board of trustees of Wikimedia Foundation, but he's also the author of the first, and so far as I can say, the only ethnography of Wikipedia and Wikipedians. And on one of the very first pages of his book, there is a clear distinction in four corners how a dispute can escalate, what a dispute can lead to. So it's either one side is very strong and they're very committed, the other not so, and the other side is eliminated, which doesn't help to build an encyclopedia. Or both sides, slam the doors and leave the project, or they abandon the issue and go somewhere else, or they start cooperating according to the rules. But that is only possible when you take a step back, when you reconsider, when you question your own motives, when you question the motives of the other side, and when you take a step to remedy that. So I'm trying to, on the spot, I'm trying to bridge these two concepts together. Dariusz from the book, which is 7 years old, or 8 years old in Polish, because it was published in Poland earlier, and what we're talking about today. So I'm thinking my mind is boiling, and I'm going to give away the mic to whoever wants to pick up on that.
Lucas, you and I have been talking about this for the last. What do you see?
So I think I've had more than one situation in the past year where this Squid concept would have changed how my life progresses, including situations like that within the Wikipedia movement, the Wikimedia movement. And I think that Squid can have many different levels of effect. Some of them are small, like you don't ink out, you don't shout at somebody, but it can also have in these turning points a very profound effect. And like Wojciech said, every person who gives up because of an unresolved conflict is a loss, whatever project you're doing. And the people listening, including this group here in Zoom, you need to understand that while Wikipedia appears to be this giant monolith, humongous project, there are roles within this huge movement that have just a handful of people doing the work, because it's so specific, it's so highly technical, or it requires a very particular set of skills, to quote Liam Neeson from Taken.
Or simply someone has to do it, like presenting and rotating the best featured content on the main page.
Exactly.
Someone has to do it.
Yes. So and then if the project loses one of these key people, the loss is immediately felt. It's not like a hive where the next worker ant replaces the previous one, right? So I think Squid has a role to play here in the prevention of volunteer burnout. Everybody who's worked in an NGO in a volunteer capacity, unfortunately, knows probably a lot about this notion that helping people is hard work, and it can lead to burnout, even if the mission is so profound. So I think if we keep people within these initiatives, within these projects, Wikipedia is one of them, but not the only one, and not the only one that's important. If we keep them engaged through giving them better tools of emotional self-management, then there's going to be a domino effect on how the planet is shaped by these activists and volunteers and professionals. So I have high hopes, and Mel knows that.
Yeah, I would love to just riff off of that, because you really have set it up for the visions that I've been having for years. And one of the things I've come to understand is I have visions. Talking about myself as a visionary is very awkward because that sounds too arrogant. But if you have visions a lot, then sometimes other people say that. So the visions of what's possible with Squid and Wikipedia being just one of the platforms in the free knowledge movement. So if we go out a notch to beyond Wikipedia's borders, all of the platforms that are available for people to do content creation on, where we have free knowledge available, which can include Wikipedia, WikiHow, Quora, YouTube, we can make the list. Wikia and fandom, and any place where there are people contributing to this collective body of human knowledge available on the internet in as many languages and as many portals as possible. How do we make it easier for people to be able to do that in a collaborative way without killing each other, without hurting each other, without emotionally beating each other up and emotionally beating ourselves up? Because you can't get it right no matter what you do. And you get reminders from everyone around you that you didn't do it correctly. That's a normal part of the Wikipedia culture right now, is that you didn't do it right. Well, how come no one showed me how to do it right? Well, that's your problem. So what has been in this image of we've lost a lot of good people. We have 20 years. And I wanted to ask, before we wrap the Wikipedia segment of this up, I want to ask everybody to take a moment and record with the mic on this idea of saying, thank you, Wikipedians, for all your hard work. Because every article we have ever read on Wikipedia was created by other human beings who have almost never heard the words thank you. There is this anonymous authorship. And we're celebrating 20 years. We've got a compilation from our January event of people saying, thank you, Wikipedians, for all your hard work. We need to extend on that. The vision that I really want to put out there, and today seems like a good day to do it, is for WikiKind. So in 2016, I helped launch Wiki SoCal and Wiki San Diego. And my history with Wikipedia is 2004 was my first edit, and I've been teaching people how to log in for the first time and why Wikipedia is this amazing resource and portal to knowledge. And anybody who says it's not good enough, it's impressive. It's amazing. Yes, some of the information is less helpful, but the idea of, oh my gosh, I can hear how scattered my brain is right now. So let me try and get back on a thread. The concept of WikiKind is to focus not on the content that's being created. Wikipedia's mission is about creating an encyclopedia. And all of our other organizations that are out there doing content creation and tools for creators are about the content. WikiKind is about the people. The mission of WikiKind is to take care of the mental health, the well-being of the people who are creating the content, who are curating the content, who are helping make it possible for this global brain to keep expanding in as healthy a way as possible. And the power of that global brain is helping us solve problems. We have a lot of problems that need solving. I point to the UN Sustainability Development Goals, and there's 17 problems, 17 intractable depth categories of problems. We need a lot of good information, a lot of people doing creative problem solving and sharing what they come up with, their ideas and their research and all of that, into a space where content creation is not just easy, it's welcoming, where we're being able to participate in the content creation process is a place of joy and supportiveness and a sense of productivity, not just exhausting and struggle. And so many of the interactions that have happened in my experience, particularly on Wikipedia, but not just Wikipedia, is having people basically say, you're not wanted here. And so the concept in WikiKind is focusing, I think, Lucas, you said it really well in a conversation we had a few weeks ago, but we need an army of mental health specialists. And they don't even need to be specialists. We need an army of people who care about other people, who have basic training on how to help Squid.
Yeah.
If I can chime in for a moment.
Yes, please.
I don't know how it's. I'm sorry, I'm going to switch on my camera, but I do look awful tonight because I'm suffering from a cold.
You look
Still,
fine,
I needed to find time to join you guys. I don't know how it's going on with the other language versions of Wikipedia, because language versions of Wikipedia are largely independent from one another in terms of community. But the Polish community, and I think Łukasz will second that and will confirm that, the Polish community and the organization Wikimedia Polska Association, which is extending a helping hand to assist Wikipedians, we're on the move. We've organized a mediation training. We're going to do another one. We are thinking in our efforts to thank people more, be grateful to them more, not just to hammer them with criticism, as Wikipedians, unaware Wikipedians often do. You know, working on Wikipedia is a wave of criticism, is working with a wave of criticism and not too much praise. And we're trying to change that. I don't know, Łukasz, what else can we add to the list?
I would say take it global. A lot of what
I would
talking about today is about scaling this concept, or what I started calling getting the Squid app and installing it in every brain on the planet.
Sure.
And so that this is the bridge, and this is the connection, I think, between Squid and the Wikipedia world and any large scale human collaboration project.
That's why I made the disclaimer at the beginning. You know, this is what we're doing with the Polish community and the Polish organization. But of course, make it global, make it big, make it, make it ubiquitous.
Yes. So, and I think Mel did a callback to the 16 Sustainable Development Goals that have been set out by the UN. Not a single one of these is achievable without very tight collaboration between people and organizations. And so if we see that collaboration requires a tool to step back and take a breath and question your assumptions, and also question your assumptions about yourself and the other side's assumptions, or your assumptions about the other side, and then figure out what you're going to do to reach a goal that you set for yourself together, then I think Squid is part of the equation. It's probably not the entire equation, but we need it. So yeah, lots of work ahead of us.
Thank you. Yeah, I know I'm wanting to be more articulate than I have been, but I've also been told this is a no apology zone. So if we could call today the next milestone in the WikiKind stuff, the idea behind WikiKind is to create a collaborative group. I don't want to say organization, because that has too much structure to it already. But the idea of identifying ourselves as WikiKind, we are intentionally kind. We are humankind who happen to wiki and create content for this free knowledge movement. And kind in German, kindergarten, the idea of it's for the kids. It has to be good for all ages. If we're talking just amongst the adults, then who are we building all of this for? The idea of really putting it into creating opportunities for people to play together and improve the quality of the knowledge that's out there at the same time. So gatherings and WikiKind outreach to people who are in conflict. It is not hard to spot an online conflict. It is really easy to be a bystander and do nothing.
And especially, I'm going to chime in again, and I'm going to bring up Dariusz Mielniak again with his book titled Collaborative Society. The very first sentence from that book is, humankind is hardwired for cooperation. And that's seen as early as in children several months old.
And then we somehow managed to screw it up.
And then we sometimes, by virtue of, I don't know what.
Well, fear, right? It all comes from the fact that we are afraid that something's going to happen. Somebody's going to hurt us, and yeah. So
They're just reminding me about the author of Conversations with God. I can't remember his name, but the outcome from that book, quite philosophical, was that there are just two emotions in the world. There is love and there is hate. There is love and there is fear.
Yes.
There is no hate. Hate is the absence of love.
Yes, and I think Squid is an easy concept, but to understand, but it takes a lot of courage to actually use it. Because it's very easy to go with your squid and lash out. It's not easy, and it's scary to take a step back and say, I'm going to be, I'm going to reevaluate my beliefs, and I'm going to reevaluate my assumptions. Thank you, Mel, again for the opportunity to practice courage through Squid.
Thank you. No, thank you for bringing up the Wikipedia stuff, and Wojciech, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I know that we have not been even close to on schedule with what we've been trying to do, but we do have, the next time Thorn is back on, Abby, thank you for nudging me, is we said that we were going to do the Q&A, and we have a very clear goal with this of being able to capture what we need for the book, the SQUIDminders book. So I'm going to set the wiki stuff off to the side and come back. Abby, here's the microphone. What would you like to say?
Here's where I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to say all the best. All the best. Happy birthday, Mela, once again. Talk to you anytime. You know where to find me.
I do indeed. I'm so grateful to see you here.
Night.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
How do I say your name?
Wojciech.
Okay. Wojciech. Okay. Next up, we have an interview by Thorn. Thorn is the founder and editor-in-chief for A Word With You Press, helping people tell their stories since 2009. Thorn, can we have you? You have been introduced.
Can I hate to
You're on mute.
I hate to do the ridiculousness, but
John,
can I have a short bio
and
break while you guys talk about me? Talk about me, say anything. I have to take a bio break.
Okay.
It's time for, even better than a bio break is a dance break. So why don't everybody stand up? We're mixing royalty-free music here. Phyllis, let's see. Phyllis is probably the top dancer here. You know that. Where's Urzi? I know Urzi can dance. I want to see Abby dance.
Abby's got some moves, yeah.
Everyone kick in the subwoofer. Urzi at the house. Here she goes.
Hey, Phyllis, rocking it.
Squids need to move. Squids weren't meant to sit down.
I I was already up moving
Okay,
around, so
I have
I'm
a quick
staying on my
question.
butt right now.
I have a quick question. If
Yes,
squid
Lord.
is a verb, what is the past tense of squid?
Squad.
We actually talked about
Squid.
this.
So we are the squad squad?
Once you squidded, you squeeded. You squeed.
See, there's a difference of opinion here because Mel is adamant that it should be squid. While I tend to think it should be squad. So
One thing that
take your
John
pick.
told us 2 days ago is one of the most important things you could do on Zoom is stand up. So if you're not standing up, you should stand up right now. It's good for your legs, it's good for your back, it's good for your butt, because you've been sitting all this time. You need to stand up. Isn't that right, John?
Here we go.
Let's see you stand up.
Well, I got to stand up and mix at the same time.
I am excluding myself because I just was up doing laundry.
Okay, you get a break.
Thank you. They're dancing though. Woo.
You know, Beyonce's The Single Lady Dance is really great for your back. I can't show my legs here because the camera doesn't go back that far.
All right. Ready? Everyone put their hands in the air. Or wave them like squids don't care. Dance break is over.
Ah, thank you, John.
Sure, anytime.
Thank you. I needed that. A little bit of limbering up. Okay,
So
now
on
I'm
the-
ready.
On the text
My
side,
eyes got all mixed up from that dancing.
you got squid turned around. You're like a squid backward is a dual.
It's a DeWick.
You've been working on
It's
that.
It's a DeWicks.
Okay. Avi,
All right.
Thorne, you guys are in
Yes,
charge.
indeed. Okay, I want to give this little context. Years ago, I lived in Hawaii. At a time, I was still unhappily married. And my wife volunteered at a shelter for abused women. The week that she was there, there was what turned out to be typical, a murder-suicide. The abuser murdered a woman and then suicide. 6 months, and that's when she quit. Repeat, same thing. I wanted to do my share to help, and I was a very robust carpenter at the time. So, well, you know, I'll come to this shelter and I'll build stuff. They didn't even want me there because of my gender. It just triggered too much stuff with people. But what I did do, they had, I don't know how, it's pretty well established now, ATV is not an all-terrain vehicle. It's alternatives to violence. So there were sessions where some of the men whose wives or girlfriends were there were mandated by the court to attend these sessions. And I remember this one guy saying, you know, these are sensitivity sessions. He says, you know, I get home, I sit on the sofa, I use the remote control, I turn on the TV, I snap my fingers and I call over my shoulder, I want a beer. My wife brings me a beer, gives me a beer. When I want to have sex, I say, I want to have sex. So the sensitivity, I got everything I want. So the sensitivity thing, what's in it for me? And so the therapist very timidly said, emotional bonding. So my question is, we have, at least in America, a very macho society. how are we going to persuade people that they need this instead of just John Wayning their way through every situation? How are we going to convince the American male that something with a silly little acronym and a clown hat is an important social movement? That's my question. Question number one for you, Mel.
Excellent.
What's in it
Yeah,
for them?
thank you. So, so I can tell you that one of the things that comes up a lot when we're trying to do social change, behavior change campaigns, is you have to identify your target. And I can tell you, I have far less hope for adults than I do for kids.
Kids for squids. Skids.
The older we get, yeah, the older we get, the more we can defend why we do what we do at a level where we're resistant to changing any of it.
Okay, please stop. Please stop and repeat that sentence very, very slowly, because that's perfect. And that, by the way, is an introduction to at least a chapter of the book. So can you recall what you said?
So here's the challenges. I don't know what I just said, but let me try. As adults, the older we get, the easier it is to defend what we do. I am entitled to behave the way I do. I am entitled to respond and react the way I do. And I am a grown-up, so don't even question my choices about responding to you. What you just said, you made me so angry, your fault, blah, blah, blah. I want to spend time, we all have only so many breaths that we're going to take while we're here on this planet. Trying to persuade people who are already resistant to change isn't where I want to spend my breath.
Okay.
So the possibility of reaching the kids that are associated with the adults that have that much, it's about me and it's only about me and everybody else is less important. That's human, that's normal, that's not unique to the United States or any of the genders and so on. It is so common across adults. It's common across kids too. I mean, we can all get defensive, but when we're talking about, the question you asked was how to do the question again. Tell me what the question is you want me to answer now.
How can we persuade people who are totally resistant to the idea they are enculturated with a John Wayne mentality? What's in it for them? How would we convince them that this isn't just a frivolous?
I'll tell a story from a book that I love. So I read a book. I have a reading disability, and I was able to listen to this book on audio, which made a huge difference, called Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. And in it, he goes through the process of one of the best interventions out there. I talked to a lot of people, is the power of the checklist. And in this story, he has been assigned by the World Health Organization to find ways to improve the outcomes of surgeries. When people are in the hospital and there's a surgery, things can go badly. How often do they go badly? How do we reduce the number of things that go wrong? And it turns out that a checklist is the simplest of interventions that can dramatically improve the outcomes. And the checklist includes things like, on the surgery team, everybody introduce yourselves to each other. So now let's share, what do we know about the patient? Does everybody have input into that? Because if you're in a surgical situation where there's a surgeon with an ego and everybody is staying quiet.
Part of the job description, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And this idea of we can improve surgical outcomes if we follow the simple checklist. And at the end of all of the research phase on this, it was clear that this checklist had made a big difference. And at the end of the book, he talks about how the surgeons were polled to see, after having done the study, so would you use this in your own future surgeries? And 86% of the surgeons said yes. which is 14% of the surgeons who didn't say yes. There was a follow-up question asked of, if you were going into surgery, would you want the surgeon to use this? And then it pops up to 96, something like that. Citations needed. But the idea of, we want it when it serves us. If we're trying to get people who are not responsive to it directly to pay attention to it anyway, probably have kids in their lives. This is especially for kids who we want to have make better choices. So in that land of, well, let me dive off on the side. One of my dreams with all of this is, there's the phrase, the cycle of abuse. I am privileged.
That's a chapter title.
It
Right
is
there.
indeed. I am completely, utterly privileged that I cannot point to any part of my history and say I have PTSD or abuse in my own personal storyline. It is all around me in storylines of other people that I am close with, family, friends, you name it. But somehow I got the lucky version of, I was loved by both of my parents. I was never in an abusive relationship. According to my levels of description, I don't meet that criteria. But we know that the cycle of abuse is this pattern where those who have been abused become abusers, and that tendency. My odds of being an abuser are low because I didn't come from it. How to use Squid to interrupt the cycle of abuse. That's a dream come true, is can we interrupt cycle of abuse? Because if you can get a generation in there that isn't abusing, then you have dramatically reduced the generations forward that will abuse.
And that, by the way, is the highlight, those words placed in italics at the start of that chapter. And for those of you who are still here, how many people do we still have here, John?
9.
8.
How many are we?
9.
Okay, for those of you who haven't been part of the core or the history of this, one of my functions within the team is to help Dr. Mel coordinate a book, it's a tag team with Dr. Zimbardo. And so if I seem to monopolize this conversation for a little while, and if it isn't the light and fluffy time that we've been having, this is serious business for us right now. We need to be able to create a counterbalance to the frivolity that we've all been enjoying. This, I won't keep it too long, but this is our moment of gravitas, because we're going to have to appeal to people who have money, quite frankly, and they're going to want to see some substance to what we're doing. And the book that Dr. Zimbardo and Mel are authoring is a way to do that. I will tell you this much: the book is not going to be written for academics. It's going to be written for the general public, so everybody can understand it. But it is basically our finest advertisement for support. And by support, I don't mean just money, but I mean time and energy. So one thing that I would like everybody to consider when you think of money, don't think of paper. Think of energy. Money is energy. So when we're doing our reach outs, and when you are reaching out on behalf of Squid to other people, think you're inviting people into something that is bigger than themselves. And we want their energy. And if their energy comes in the form of time and enthusiasm, like so many people have demonstrated the last 12 hours, that's great. According to Dr. Mel, we need that more than their money, but I'm the one who has to say, well, yeah, but we need the money too.
We need resources in order to keep going. I will riff off of that. One of the things in looking at how do we bring in the energy and resources that we need, The idea of really acknowledging that everybody who wants to put in serious hours on this, there's a lot to be done. If we're trying to do a global movement, you know, the civil rights movement took time for everybody to be part of that and engage in that. And there's the mixture of being able to participate a little bit and being able to participate a lot. There's so much work to be done in the thick of how do we make an event like this happen? How do all of those pieces together behind the scenes? Organizing takes an enormous amount of time and effort in order for a simple event to happen, let alone 24 hours. Okay. Those of us who have the availability to spend time on that still need to be able to pay our bills. And I don't live rich. None of us here do. But the idea of being able to have help so that we can invest as much of our time as possible into the work, that's what the fundraising is for when it comes to money. The other call out that I have for absolutely everybody in the world, particularly those that do not have abundant financial resources, is that time is the most precious resource. Money comes and money goes. Time only goes. Anybody who is willing to spend time working with us, collaborating with us, sharing what Squid is to their friends, their family, learning more about it, broadcasting it, any version of that, that is a gift that we can't spend enough money on.
Okay.
So
okay.
The money is for operations and the core team, and then all of the things that will make it possible for this to be the mushroom cloud, the going viral. There's the coronavirus, which we are all far too familiar with now. There's the coronavirus, K-A-R-U-N-A, coronavirus, and it is the virus of compassion, the virus of connection. It's a beautiful concept. How do we go viral with Squid and mindfulness?
The Czech currency is a koruna.
Lovely.
Okay, but listen, I'm
gonna go and rest now.
I need to.
Yeah, let me give Abby the mic. So Abby, you have been here for 12 hours. Let's do, John, can we do a group shot with Abby in the center of the picture? He has been here solid for 12 hours, 12. And we want to point at Abby. So if you can put him in the center of the shot and we can all point in the direction of whichever way you tell us. Which way should we point, John? You're on mute.
There you go. See, I told you 35 years still can be caught on mute.
Caught on mute.
Here, wait, let me change my background. There we go. Okay, Mel left.
Mel, point. This is my left?
That would be your left.
That's my left. Okay.
Left down, left down. Yeah, that's good. Thorn down. Yep. Nope. Mel's Urzi. Yes, that's right. Correct. Wait, who turned your camera on and off? No, Mel's in the wrong place. Okay, stay there. That's fine. Stay there. Hold on. Wait for it. Stay there. Okay, Phyllis, point left. Good. Now, Mel, point up and slightly to your right. Yep, that's good. And Lucas, point up but slightly to your left. I gotta get mine right. Hold on a second. Can I get mine? There we go. Okay. Good. Look how good Abby's holding. He's having to smile for a long time. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Say Abby.
Abby.
That's pretty good. I got it.
Love you guys. It's been a pleasure sitting with you. I'll be back in the last 3 hours of the stream. See you then.
Bye, Abby. I miss you, Abby. Thank you. You are awesome.
Wait, Abby, don't you want to see this photo?
Oh, yeah.
3,
sorry.
2, 1. Abby, tell us what you think.
Oh.
The narcissist in me is so happy.
Okay, before you go, just like 60 seconds. Why is this so important to you that you have given us the last 12 hours of your life and the last hundreds of hours that you put in on this in the last few months? Why?
This comes from a place, a blip in your head, which is the cognition beyond cognition. This is so easy that you can make anybody understand, and that's how nature and universe works. If something has to make sense, it has to be very easy. This is something just like it, to stop yourself when you feel something wrong, to stop each other when we feel wrong. My friend feels something wrong, square it with them, and we are a community. This matters so much, that we are a tribe. We have each other, we have each other's back. We can all come together and help solve the world's problems. Thank you.
Okay,
Love you all.
before you log off, I have a hug for you. So we're going to do one group hug, okay? So if everybody could stand if you are able. This is called the Oxytocin Hug. So put your arms around your body. And we're going to do what this is, the formalized version of the Oxytocin Hug. I want you to squeeze and breathe with me 3 times. So and then give it a good tight squeeze. Can you feel me hugging you from through the whole internet around the world? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
Yes, Abby can.
That, my friends, is oxytocin, and I hope, Abby, you can feel that hug coming to you.
Yes, for all of you. Yes. Yes.
Go sleep well, my friend. We'll see you at the end. You're coming back for the last hour?
Yep. How could I not? See
exactly. You. Bye. Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to hog the show for a while. I hope that you're all good with that.
Before you do, Phyllis, I want to do a quick check-in with Phyllis. How long are you able to stay on for?
Don't know. I will need to have a nap, but I'm having my lunch now.
Okay.
And I'll pop back in. I have really nothing much to Zoom about today other than you.
Well, thank you. Okay, then after Thorne is done, I would love to have a dialogue with you about lessons learned and your wisdom and being able to capture that for the internet world, because you have so much life experience, perspective, and wisdom that ties back in with all of this. How do you approach life from a place of joy? You know these things. So I will be handing you the microphone later. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
And Beth, I'll check in with you as well. How long are you here for? Do you want the microphone? Do you have questions?
First thing I gotta do is unmute myself. It's kind of an in and out kind of day for me because I've got to probably leave here around 4-ish. I may or may not have to go to the grocery store. I don't know. Yeah, I know that several people want me to share my story about how I overcame multiple abuses in my life. And I'm not sure when and where we want to accomplish that, and where
we're going to do that in just a few minutes.
Oh, fabulous! And I can stick around for that.
To invite you for that.
Yep, I can stick around for that.
But first, let me funnel all of this. As we formulate this book, what I envision at this point, there's going to be an intellectual end of it, an intellectual side between Dr. Zimbardo and Mel. There's going to be an exchange, but it's going to be interspersed with stories that we'll want to collect from people who blew it. You know, they didn't squid when they could have, and they didn't know about it. And we'll have stories of those who did use squid techniques to show how it impacted their relationships. So we are going to be soliciting stories from people. It's going to be ongoing for, I would guess, the next couple of months. We want to solicit enough stories from people about their experience in squid that we can put into this book. So before I ask Mel any more questions, I'm getting hints that Beth has quite a story. Is it true?
Yes. So when you were talking about abuse and overcoming abuse, I mentioned earlier in chat that I've been, I think in some ways in my adult life, practicing squid in some form or fashion to deal with the abuse I suffered as a kid, and then taking those things that I learned and processing. And I was abused as a child, sexually.
Now, listen,
And
will you forgive me
Go ahead.
for pushing the envelope? It's what I do. When you say abused, that means they said nasty things. That means they took hot cigarette butts to you. That means they did sexual violence.
Both sexual and I had a very sadistic stepfather who thought it would be fun to just, use a board with holes in it to spank us. Yeah. And then all of that, I think all of that translated into as a teenager, things happening to me, and into my adulthood, where I basically allowed things to happen because in my brain, in the tapes in my brain, as it was once referred to in therapy, things happen. So I pretty much have been abused every way possible a person can be abused.
I'm going to ask a quick formality question of, because we are live streaming, because this is going public, are you comfortable talking about this?
I have talked about this to many people, and I think honestly,
the microphone is yours.
Yeah, because I encounter people in various ways in my life, public transportation, people I worked with. I used to be really kind of shut in about it. In fact, I think the reason I talk about it now is because when I did keep it inside and not talk about it, I was kind of a mean, angry person, I think. And then I went into therapy in my late 30s, I guess. I kind of went in and out of therapy a couple times. And I basically, the phrase, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think I've lived that all my life, and long before it was a Kelly Clarkson song, because when you're, I don't even know, nobody can understand this unless they've lived through it. But a lot of this, living through it has made me the person I am now. And sometimes I get a little wiggy, and that's usually just because, when I'm tired, hungry, whatever. Sometimes the abusive part of my body, my life kind of comes back, and I feel like everything's attacking me. So, yeah, as an adult, I'm in my third marriage for 22 years. And the first two, the first one lost his mind. The second one was emotionally and verbally abusive to me. No husband ever laid a hand on me as far as hitting me, but I was hit as a child. So all of it ties all together with who I am. And I have a cousin who actually had some stuff happen to her, and she wrote a book, and then she basically chickened out. She was ready to go on a book tour. So, some people say I should write a book, but I think I'm just living my book. Basically, I'm a living book because my life is an open book. I tell people I don't care who I tell this. I don't mention names anymore, but the two people that abused me as a child sexually, they are both dead now. And I got to see both of them, at least one of them, not long before he died. And the word karma comes to mind. What his condition was, karma, but I don't dwell on that.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure.
With where you're at now in your own spiritual evolution, if that abuser were in front of you now, what would you say to him?
I'd probably tell them, you know what? You stole part of my childhood from me, you little mother effer. John Lowe is, I'm using filter because I have dropped the F-bomb, but we're global. So yeah, no, I pretty much would call them out on what they did. And I'm pretty sure they would deny that they did it. And probably try to make me think it was all my fault, which is basically what they do. They groom you. Grooming happens. My first abuser actually gave me a quarter once, and I had this quarter and I was playing with it, and his wife asked me where I got the quarter from. So I made up a story. So yeah, I would call them out. As an adult, I would call them out. As a child, because I was groomed, I didn't know any different. My first encounter with a boy, I hadn't actually remembered what had happened to me at that point yet. It came later. And so, you know, but somewhere in the back of my brain, I knew that, well, this is what girls do with boys. So you know, or males. So yeah, there we are. Did that answer your question? The caffeine has not kicked in yet.
Well, hey, I'll do a follow-up question. So imagine that as a kid, you had learned SQUID. Whenever you feel like something is wrong, can you stop and ask questions, ... You've had thousands and thousands of hours to look backward and go, what if, what if, what if?
Yep.
Would a 5-step process like that have done anything different? I mean, what was missing?
So, because I think I would have asked, again, I would have stopped when the first abuser abused me. And just so I can go back, many years after I remembered the first abuser, I found out there was a second one that I did not remember, that was told to me at a funeral of a family member. And I think I would have stopped and asked questions. I probably would have said, wait, isn't this wrong? But I didn't have any knowledge. I was 7. So at that age, I had no point of reference. I think in the back of my brain, I probably knew that this wasn't quite right. But
unless you have the steps, unless you have the criteria of this is a problem and here's what you can do about it, you're trapped in the situation you're trapped in.
Yeah, actually, and of course, Mel, they were both bigger than me by a lot.
Yeah,
so.
That's the point. Mel, that same question crossed my mind, but I didn't ask it because the child is overpowered in every way. And yep. I can't imagine that SQUID would be of value in a situation like that. You know,
I think it would be a valuable tool to teach children when we're teaching them about improper touching and things like that, or improper words spoken.
I would agree that works with SQ. I completely agree with stop and ask questions, and definitely understand. Hopefully you would find someone to ask that would say, no, this is not right. You are absolutely right. Seeing this situation as wrong is absolutely correct. But as far as a kid imagining options and deciding on a plan, I don't think that a child is capable of doing those last 2 letters of SQUID. They need someone else to do that ID for them.
Yep, that's true. And of course, in this case, it was always, you know, an isolated thing where it was that person and myself and my siblings, and they took me off to another room while they were watching television or playing a game or whatever. I was the oldest of 3 girls, and so I was the target, I guess, because I was the oldest. I don't know.
Well, I am sorry. I'm sorry every time I hear stories like that. I do believe that writing is cathartic, and we would be most happy to have you write your story, and we'll figure out how to send it to us. And we'll probably reduce it to a manageable size for the book that we want to create. But we are interested in collecting stories from people. And if you can imagine SQUID in your life now and how you use it in your current relationships, that might be a nice balance for what happened to you as a child.
Just made me think of a whole completely different situation where again, I've been practicing SQUID in some form or fashion all my life. And one incident that I can think of that comes to mind is my husband and I have a difference of opinion about politics, and he literally got in my face, and I put my hand out and I said, stop right now. it out of my face. I used a lot of swear words, but I made basically I made him back down because I knew that there was no way he was going to get any closer to me than he was. I don't think he would have harmed me, but because I'm 4'10" and I've always been small, I've dealt with a lot of like bullying like tactics. So, and I think a lot of what I do now with dealing with that kind of thing comes back to like dealing with the stuff from my childhood.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I used to, before therapy, I basically, I just kowtowed to everything. I was like a doormat. Now it's more like, I found my voice. I found my voice finally. And I do use it, but often if I'm at work, I use it with humor because that's what happened the other night. And the guy came at me and basically was trying to bully me, and it didn't work because I didn't let it work.
There's a quote from William Faulkner. He says, "The past isn't dead. It isn't even past." So listen, let me ask.
It's in there somewhere.
Let me ask Mel. Can I get Mel back on the screen?
Mel is still on the screen.
Ah, there you are.
Click view gallery.
And Ami, and forgive me, Ami, did I say that improperly?
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're in hour 12 and a half.
Woo!
And Ami, at the moment, what we're doing is, it's not as much, you missed a lot of fun. This is the,
Yeah. I
this is
know,
a serious
and
interlude.
the time of the Dr. Zimbardo too, but I had to work, so
He was here for moments and gone.
Yeah.
So you can catch the video clip, and we are going to have him back for another round of actually sitting down and having a conversation with him. So if you're on the mailing list, we'll get you the invite. We'll make it work for your schedule.
I have 1 hour and a half now, and I have to go and drive to the beach because I have to take some documents at the university, but in the beach.
Well, anyway, what's going on in this little interlude?
Amy, I know that you're social on Facebook. I would encourage you to share all the posts that I'm sharing in the group right now.
Okay.
I've tried to stay on topic with what's going on in our Zoom meeting and constantly sharing that YouTube link. So if you could share that as well, that would be excellent.
Yeah, of course.
Back to you, Tharn.
Yeah, thank you. So what I need to accomplish in this brief period of time, I am charged with coordinating the writing of Dr. Zimbardo and Mel with a book that we can use to bring people to Squid and to help make it succeed. So I have to ask, I'm interviewing Dr. Mel now. One of the things that we know that we're going to do with the book, we're going to invite the stories of people, of moments in their lives when the knowledge of Squid would have been of some value to them, and whether or not they were able to use it, or whether it was unavailable to them. Did it change things? Could it have changed things? So Beth was just good enough to share her story of being abused. And that's impacted, of course, how she's going to connect, how she's going to use Squid in the future. So anyway, that's basically what you just missed.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure. So Dr. Mel, let me ask you another question. Actually, this is kind of a repeat of something that I asked you shortly after midnight. I would like you to tell me what you think humanity's single best virtue is. Mel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
So Thorn, you want to click on the button that says gallery view, then you can see all of us. So the humanity's single best virtue. Well, I'll start from one of the things. Yes.
I just want to let you know that, let's see, Arnold is going to join us in just a second here.
Yay. I'll say hi as soon as he is officially logged in. I am not seeing him on the screen yet.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Okay, go for it. Welcome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! He's in the house. Okay, Thorn, we are coming back to that in just a second. This is another dear friend of mine who is also a children's book author, and I will let him explain that. But we've known each other since we were what, 12?
We're there.
So,
Yeah, I just moved in to say happy
quick
birthday.
introduction to Arnold Rudnick. So who you are, books.
So yeah, I'm Arnold. I am, among other things, an author. The children's book I wrote is Little Green. It's about a frog who wants to be special and hops around asking, isn't it possible? And not everything is possible. The book is that almost everything is possible. And it's that qualifier that I think gives it a lot of power, because it helps you find the direction to solve what you want to do, as opposed to the patronizing, oh, you can be anything you want. There's a lot that people can do, but almost it makes it more powerful. And he learns to be the best frog he can be. That's a spoiler.
Thank you so much for joining us. So Thorn is interviewing me so that we can get the book done. Arnold, I don't think I've told you this, but when I asked Phil Zimbardo if he would write the foreword for the Squid book, he said, yes, we have a foreword for the little Squid book. And then I asked him if he would co-author with me. And he said, yes. And has been pounding on, where is the book? Where is the book? Where is the book? I'm like, I need help. And Thorn has graciously offered to help with the birthing of the book. That is the collaboration between me and Zimbardo and everybody else that we can bring into what happens next. To explain the vision that we have for this book as far as audience, I want you to imagine that you are transiting through an airport, that you have just enough time before you go to your gate, that you are going past that airport bookstore, and that you see this book about Squid sitting on a table at the front of that airport store.
Speaking of Squid's Mel, do you know
Yes.
a Tommy Edison?
I do. Bring him in.
Tommy Edison on the way in.
Thank you.
This is the
Tommy Edison is in the house.
Tommy Edison. Could you unmute and say hello?
We
Paging
have
Tommy
people
Edison.
arriving. Tommy, talk to me, baby.
Let's try and get him on.
You are still on mute. So my dear friend Tommy Edison has a YouTube channel that you must see. And he will tell us exactly what the name of it is, but he and I have known each other because of that YouTube channel. And we've got no image of him yet. So the blind film critic, 19 years as a traffic reporter for New Haven, Connecticut, I believe, and born blind since birth. But you're still not on the screen, babe. So I'm sending you hugs. Chime in when you unmute.
It does seem stuck. So Tommy, if you are stuck, you could unlog out and then log back in. And now I know who you are.
And we will bring you back in after yeah. Oh, there you are.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hiya. Hiya.
Hello.
I beg your pardon.
So Tommy, I'm putting you on the spot instantly because you just arrived. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk to me? Can you sing me a happy birthday song of your choosing?
Okay. Which would you like first?
Add something about the weather. We would really appreciate that, Tommy.
Well,
I'm
not a weather guy.
You talking for 60 seconds about the traffic or anything else on your mind is a pleasure for me.
And that was my error.
Aren't you lovely?
Hearing you
not
sing-
weather.
Yeah. Hearing you sing happy
Thank you.
birthday makes me really happy.
All right, I will sing for you then. Ready? And here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melissa. and I leave the audience wanting more. You see? I don't finish the song.
Very nice. You know, you're one of the only people who can get away with calling me Melissa.
But he has a
What's your
very
name,
beautiful
isn't it?
voice.
My name is
Aren't you lovely?
Mel.
Thank you very much.
Yes, he
Do I
does.
get to call you Missy?
Oh God, no. Oh, cringe, cringe, cringe. These are names I have had in the
No,
past.
no, 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 no.
I am Mel or Dr. Mel or the Squid Lady. But yes, so thank
that's
you for
love.
joining us, my friend. We are
You're
at the
welcome.
stage where Thor. Yeah. Do you want me to describe what's going on?
Yeah, tell me all about it. What are you
Okay,
doing?
so
What you
at
been
the
up to?
moment, we're
I
at-
haven't talked to you in bloody forever.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that will do on the Bloody Forever phone call. The
Okay.
currently the Zoom room, we've got 12 screens on, and we've been yakking since we are at hour 12 and a half. A whole bunch of us have the SQUIDminders logo and 5 steps up as our virtual background. And it says, how to squid our squid brains. Whenever you notice that something seems wrong, can you stop, ask questions, understand, imagine, then decide? Email us at squidminders@gmail.com. And we're going for as many people as possible, getting a little bit more aware of what we're doing. And what else? We're trying to be inclusive, blah, blah, blah. We've got captioning live. Joe was in the house earlier and is an ASL specialist. And there's my quick description of what's been going on here. And it's all live streamed. So there's like 12 hours of recordings of this so far.
Wow. That's very, very cool. That's very cool. Good for you, my love. That's brilliant.
Thank you. You were on the stage with me back in San Diego in 2017 when we did the Living Library and the Tommy Edison experience and all of those things. And you watched me do the squid stuff. So before I take you back off of the mic, can you say a few words about what you think of squid and the importance of it?
Well, no, it's a great thing, and it's all about being able to just stop for 2 seconds and just have a think before you do something great. To remember, it's you got to stop. Do. Oh, sorry. There's. Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's a great thing. It's a lovely thing, and it's very cool. And it's that whole ink, right? Talking about this releasing ink and stuff, and you want to, before you release that to the world, you want to stop and be quiet and understand, identify, and then choose or decide. So.
Yeah. You remember? Yay.
Of course I remember. What, are you kidding me?
I did bother you about it a lot. Okay.
No, you did not.
Thank you for joining. You are now welcome to just be an audience member. Not that that's your normal, but
that is my normal. That's my new.
What's your YouTube channel? Give a shout out to your YouTube channel.
Right. So my YouTube channel is, Mel was saying that I started as a blind film critic, and I did, but the real YouTube channel, the one that if you want to watch one, is called The Tommy Edison Experience. And on this channel, I simply talk about my life as a blind person and answer tons and tons of viewer questions and things like that, all about the blind experience. So if you want to have a look, I would love it. And we haven't posted, we've been posting on it a little bit, but we still have a few more things to to put up and stuff. So it's not a regular schedule anymore, right? We're just going to sort of put up videos when we can. But I'd love for you to have a look if that's something that you're interested in.
Thank you, darling.
Let me just give you a little intel on this channel. Number one is one of his videos, Can Blind People Draw, got 6.8 million views.
Yes. Yep.
2 months ago, he posted drunk unboxing.
Yep. That was a bonus video of drunk unboxing.
Now, Tommy, though, you have over 100 subscribers. You could rename this channel the Tommy Edison Experience. Have you done so? Or did I miss it?
It is called the Tommy Edison Experience.
Oh, I got the default channel name, which is like UCLD5S.
No, my channel. No, it's called the Tommy Edison Experience. That's the name of the channel. Yeah.
Well, anyways, I put it in the chat here.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Should we play one of Tommy's videos?
Let us do that a little later. because I know Thorn is on a run, and Thorn has also been up quite late. It is now what time out in Europe?
No, it's not too late here.
Not too
It's 9:30 in the evening.
It says 9:30, yeah.
Yeah.
Mel, do you know somebody named Tessa?
Yes, I do.
So, okay.
So the room is starting to fill up again. So,
Thorn? Let's welcome in Tessa.
Yeah, Thorn, here's what I'm going to suggest we do is the more people we have in the room, the more I want to make this interactive instead of just you and me, because that's kind of
All right, well, listen, if we're going to do that, then what you
much we can do that's just you and me.
Yeah,
Let's talk people.
Okay, Mel.
Let's gather the
Mel.
stories from our crowd.
Mel.
Thorn.
What we'll do, my dear birthday girl.
Yes.
Okay, what we'll do is sometime after you have recovered from this marathon, we'll do the interview one-on-one. How's that?
And we can do a stream of that where anybody is welcome to log in if they feel like it or watch later. But let's catch some stories that are in the house right now, because we've got audience. We've got people who are logged in. It's not just the three of us talking to ourselves.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
we have Tessa coming. You know, I'm enamored of the name Melissa. She's actually the central character in one of my novels, and I'm enamored of the name Tessa because that's the name of my daughter. So I'm in good company.
Yay! Okay.
So Tessa,
it's your lucky
Tessa,
day.
how did you find me?
Thorn, I am stealing the microphone back from you.
No
So
worries.
that I can go around my peeps here and say, so let's see who's got squid stories. So this book that Thorn is helping me make happen involves these stories from anybody and everybody. And my question to you, and please raise your hand if you've got one, is are you willing to share a story from your life, especially a story from when you were kids, where you did something you regretted? And if you think about the metaphor of a squid squirting ink, something you said that you shouldn't have said, and what happened next? Anybody here willing to tell a story about having done something as a kid that you'd be willing to put out there on the live stream that we are currently doing?
Formerly known as the interwebs. No.
Phyllis has her hand up. Yes. So Phyllis, take us back. Take us way back. What year was this?
There you go. Great
And
job.
can you mute everybody else, John? Let Phyllis have that mic.
Phyllis is sorry, Mom. It's 1939. And my parents were having some kind of a get together. And my aunt, my dad's sister, was graciously helping in the kitchen. I adored this woman. She seemed to be the one person in the whole world that loved me the most at that time. And she was washing the dishes, and I was in the kitchen with her. And suddenly there was an outcry. She said, "Oh my gosh, I've lost my rings." And people came rushing in and looking all over and couldn't find them. And something came into me, some mysterious something. And I said, "Oh, your rings are up there." And I pointed to a high shelf. She was also very, very short, as I grew up to be. And she needed to go way up on her tippy toes and reach that shelf. And there were her rings. And then I got it. Everyone blamed me for putting the rings there. The fact that there was no ladder or chair and that I was a heck of a lot shorter than anyone else in the room made no difference. If I could go back, I would have kept that to myself, because I was looked at rather oddly after that in my family. So that's one event that I would go back and erase.
Thank you for sharing that. So if I stay with you and Squid, and you've been watching me do all of the Squid stuff, if you had Squid as a child, would that have made a difference in that scenario? It doesn't quite.
Because I was the only child there and the target of all these angry adults, I was pretty immobilized emotionally and physically. The concept of these people who were supposed to be my caregivers and my protectors attacking me, I recognized that in a way I was pretty much on my own to raise myself. And it was just one of the many events in my life which clouded my whole growing up and adulthood of never having been wanted to in the first place, because I was told I was a botched abortion, and other things that happened to seem to prove that I was really unwanted. And my dad kept hands off the girl. His province was my brother. You know, he had to raise my son and take him to synagogue and stuff like that. And I was left to my mother's tender mercies. And it was only within this year that I came to grips with that through my course in Paradigms of Love and Healing, that I was able to forgive my mother, understand my mother, sort of a shortcut of Squid, of learning how to look with love and find the answers through love. And I recognized her background, her childhood, her fears, her being torn from her culture. We were Holocaust escapees. And I could not only forgive her, but finally fully love her. So that's the way I see Squid, as a step towards the ability to not only look back or ask questions, but to start at the end with love and then go back and fill that in.
Thank you. So let me bring you back up to the present moment. You have how many kids? How many grandkids? How many great grandkids?
I have 5 sons and 2 daughters. I have 14 grandchildren. I now have 9 great grandchildren, only one of whom is a female, and 2 of which are adults, one 23 and one 18. And there are people looking at engagement rings among my grandchildren and living with lovers, and maybe we'll start families. So I have achieved one of my great achievements. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was a very prolific reader, and I was reading books way beyond what I should have. And I read Pearl Buck, and I found out that the matriarchs were revered. They got the best food. They got all the attention. And at that age, I looked ahead and said, I want to become a matriarch. I am a matriarch. I am not revered. I don't get the best of everything, but I am very happy with my status.
You definitely have a legacy. So one of my questions to you, for both at the moment and any immediate thoughts you have on it, but also long term, is that collection of family that you have and how the Squid stuff can be helpful to you guys. So with all of the different generations in there, particularly the youngest ones and the ones that are parenting the youngest ones, how can Squid be made into something that's more useful for them? What do you want to see next?
I'm very, very happy to announce that they're all good friends with one another, even though some of them don't see one another very often. I have to make a confession. I was a bad great-grandmother. I asked my great-grandson the last time I saw him, which was a year ago, if he would please just connect with me once in a great while so I could keep up with his life. And he said he would, and he didn't. When he graduated from high school, I got this magnificently embossed invitation to come to his graduation, which would have been impossible, and which I recognized as a request for a very generous gift. And I thought to myself, and I got a little angry, and he never tried to connect with me. And I know he was in San Diego for 3 days and chose not to come and see me. So I made a donation of $150 to my favorite charity, Survivors of Torture, and had them send him a letter. In your honor of your graduation, your grandmother has, it was not a nice thing to do. And I did it. And I'm going to see him again on Thanksgiving. And I will approach him with my squid knowledge in mind and see if we can come to a better rapport.
It would be interesting to hear what his reaction was to receiving that particular gift.
I think his reaction was not visiting his great grandma when he was here for 3 days and he knew I was 10 minutes away.
So I want to give a big shout out to the community that is Survivors of Torture, because what an incredible organization. I've had the privilege of being able to connect with them too, based in San Diego, and specifically, Phyllis, you know the mission statement better than I do. Why Survivors of Torture as your charity of choice?
I took a tour. I was educated. I had no idea so many countries contribute to torturing their people. And their ability to reach out through word of mouth. We have a very large immigrant population here, and many of them are cab drivers or other workers that come into contact with a lot of the population from their countries and others. And if they have had knowledge of survivors of torture, they strongly suggest that these people also get in touch with them. And they have children, and they have psychiatrists and social workers, and a place where of safety. And it means everything. It means everything. Knowing I'm in a free land and I can say anything I want. Once you've been tortured and have that within you, that experience, it needs to be dealt with, because you can't feel free. You can't feel safe. And you raise your children in fear. So I just think they do wonderful stuff.
Thank you. So thank you, Phyllis, for that. Anybody inspired? Arnold, before you have to go, I'm handing the microphone to you, and John has a special request for you as well for 5 minutes from now. So if you can hang out for 5 more minutes,
okay,
to decide on the next pose. So over to you, Arnold.
Well, I was needing to run, and he handed it to me to wish you a happy birthday. So I could probably hang out for 5 or 4 more minutes, because I know what his request is. The pose for the 13th hour picture. So I need to know what the first 12 were.
where we've been posting the pictures. We can do a reenactment. It involves something with your hands,
Or
something.
share the screen.
Oh
and
yeah,
do
actually, I
one.
can do it.
Perfect,
Yeah,
yeah.
hold on a second.
So over the next 5 minutes, and Arnold, you're welcome to tell us a story about a time when Squid would have been useful to you.
Oh, I think it's a great concept. I heard you asking about that. I will try and rejoin later today, and I will think of a meaningful story.
So Arnold, can you see this? I know you're on your phone. So this
Yeah, I can see them.
Hour 1. These are from my other program. Ooh, geez, am I going the wrong direction?
I believe so.
But look at this one. This is great. We can do that.
Things we could do.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, good. So that's 2. That's 3. That's
3
4.
o'clock in the morning was pretty quiet.
That's 4. We're all pointing at each other. That's 5. That's 2 squid hands. That's 6. That's our art. Look what we made, Dr. Mel, when we were
beautiful.
lying down. This is hour 7. It was
Love it. I missed these. Yeah, these are great.
Oh yeah, this is hour 8. Look, she made a squid mask.
That's amazing.
Hour 9 with the doctor. This is 10. There was no 11. This is 12. This is 20.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
There's your sampling. And now, did we just get all of that on the screen? Or on we have YouTube that one?
So, well, I know you're going to break the Zoom record. I don't know the rules or regulations of that, but for the 13th hour, everyone should feign sleeping.
Okay, you got 90 seconds to get into a sleeping position. I feel like a hypnotist. Phyllis, sleep.
We've got 90 seconds of pretending to sleep. Okay, so here's a squid question for you guys to
free
ponder
hypnotist.
while you're protecting.
Actually, wait. You can save that if you want for the 24th hour and do the thinker instead.
The thinker. Okay, thinker position. Thinker position makes sense. So I like this. The face palm is actually symbolic, but we can go thinker. Thinker is a good one.
Okay, 45 seconds. Get your thinker pose on. I'll count it down in the last 10 seconds. It's good because I can't look. I have to look away and click. 30 seconds. Thank you for staying, Arnold. It's really good. It's like a combination thinker Tebow, you know? 20 seconds.
Loving the countdown clock.
Here we go. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nailed it. Oh, genius, everybody. You're all good. Here, I'll show you in just a second. And then Arnold can depart. Thank you, Arnold, for staying a few extra minutes. I know that Mel appreciates it.
Definitely.
Okay, Arnold, you get the first crack at commentary, so just unmute and tell us what you think of this fine picture.
Nice. So Tommy, the picture is of a bunch of us in the thinker pose. Are you familiar with the thinker pose from Rodin? If you're
I'm obviously not.
But he's muted.
That is okay, but basically yes, nice job. Yes, it's a good question. Wait, we really should look up the proper thinker pose because it's a Rodin thing. I remember thinking it was the faceplant pose.
No, you got me thinking that. I think it was the chin, but I It's your birthday, so it's whatever you want. But have a wonderful day and many more.
The face plant is actually sign language in my SQUIDminders stuff. The face plant is one of the ways that we can tell our family and friends, I've had enough of whatever it is you're doing right now, please stop. And it is the sign language that already means I'm maxed out. And it's the sign language that already means stop.
I think that's the Thanksgiving pose.
If we add this to the language in our families of, if you have a parent who is able to say to the child, look, what this means is if you keep going, I'm going to ink. I am losing it. I am in the process of losing it. Please stop talking to me. Similarly, if a parent is in the middle of yelling at their child and the child does this and puts out their hand, it should mean, parent, please stop yelling at me. I am maxed. I have heard you. It's overwhelming. And to be able to use some version of a sign language to help us squid a little sooner so that the yelling can quiet down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Travis.
Paul Travis is in the house. Arnold is still here. Say hi, guys.
Hi, Paul. I'm heading out, but happy birthday, Mel.
Thank you.
Well, I sensed this was the time to put my hand up and tag you out.
Nice.
This is like World Wrestling Federations for Mel's birthday? All
Just
right.
a little gentler, yes.
Hi, Paul.
John, it's been a while.
I know.
Oh, that's right. We've got that connection too. So,
Paul, you know Mel.
How does he know Mel?
No, obviously you know Mel.
It was kind of a funny thing that happened in downstate Illinois in the cornfields.
Continue,
Back in
Paul.
1980, he was going into your junior year of high school, and I showed up as a sub-freshman of high school at a little place called the University High School in Urbana, Illinois. And I was 12 and you were 16 at that point. Is that what we worked out? Something like that. So I've known him since I was 12. And in college, we started hanging out together a lot more. And I was telling you about how I ended up going to Microsoft. This guy got the job and got us out of Illinois, and Seattle became a big part of my life ever since. So, but Paul is also part of the legacy, the history of Squid, and you have been part of this journey for many of the years. Paul, can you, I know you just arrived, but I know you're comfortable on the microphone.
Perform the song?
Perform any of it. Okay, I'm giving you the microphone, and here's what I want you to do, is describe why Squid is important enough to be promoting it worldwide. Why do you think it was worth your time and effort to do what you did, helping it move forward?
I think I remember this saying by Viktor Frankl, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And all of the power that we have in the world is in that space. And I think that you focused your energy on how to help people, and specifically young people, catch themselves before hurting relationships, before saying things that are really hard to unsay. And so I appreciate the intention that you've had in the altruistic idea of how to help people.
Could I ask you to repeat that quote from Frankl, please?
Between stimulus and response, there is a space.
Thank you.
All the power of our world lies in that space.
Yeah, Viktor Frankl is one of those inspirations in the land of how do you get through life when life includes a concentration camp?
Mm.
And his approach, and this is one of the authors that Phil really recommends we all read, is E.D. Eger. E.D.
Oh, yes, I read that.
The Choice. And it's this ability to notice that there's that moment where you have a choice on how you want to react to what's going on in front of you, around you, to you. And even when you have helplessness, just the dictionary of helplessness, this is what you're in, you still have something in how you mentally process it. So the ability to turn to those tools, it takes having someone show you those tools are available, because our brains are not wired to look at those choices. Our brains are wired for suffering, which is a long story, but we do have the evolutionary psychology is that it is easier for our brains to survive if we worry, if we just enjoy life. The more time we spend savoring, the less time we spend fretting, the more bad things might happen to us. And oh no, we should ruminate instead. So
I think, Mel, that's somewhat correct. I think the phrasing I would use is, it is more likely for our brains to survive if we worry more. It is not easier. It is very much harder.
very well said. Very well said. The correction is, I think the way I've had it explained to me is that if the humans who were enjoying the breeze and the berries and
Got
not
eaten by
paying
the tiger.
attention to the threats are the ones that did not become our ancestors.
Yes.
But we have a brain that is wired for reacting to the saber-toothed tiger in the life-threatening situations. And that same brain is reacting the same intensity if it's a difference of opinion. And I liken it to allergy reactions. My body is treating something that is actually not that dangerous as though it is extremely dangerous. And my face is falling off with sneezing and itching and all of that stuff, not because of the pollen, but because my face, my body is reacting to it so strongly. And I see our emotional brains as very similar in nature. They are wired for overreacting. So this is a way of teaching us how to tap, to recognize that that's going on and then quiet it.
I was also just listening to a book by Faith Harper, and was fascinated. She cited that the speed at which we talk to ourselves has been clocked at 4,000 words a minute, and mostly negative. And so I think that really ties in there to, focus on the problems, be wary of anything that's going to go wrong, rather than like breathing in all the abundance and beauty around us. It takes effort to do.
I'm fortunate. I'm an editor. One of my clients now has a story, the Rabbi of Auschwitz. And the Rabbi of Auschwitz was the first woman rabbi.
Wow.
And just fascinating to hear how she manages to keep her cool, how she manages the impossible task of keeping people inspired, knowing that they're knowing what it is. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to divert that. It's just that this conversation triggered that.
Yeah.
I have this idea that every time Mel talks about suffering, it comes back. So I'll say it out loud now. I think you should talk to somebody very deeply involved in Buddhism now, and see which part of Buddhism did you encapsulate in Squid? Because I bet you.
Oh, I've been studying Buddhism for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go.
It's definitely, it's within, so I've been studying Buddhism for a long time. You can see that you've got the hairstyle here, you've got this. In fact, one of the incentives I have for getting the book done, Thorn, is that the Dalai Lama was doing sessions in San Jose and had the opportunity, Phil Zimbardo had the opportunity to be in that small group of people who gets to meet him. And as part of that ceremony, the people who were participating were presented with a white scarf. And so Phil has shown me the white scarf that he was given by the Dalai Lama. And he has said that when I finish the book, he will give me that scarf. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. So I've been to the Dalai Lama's talk several times, and I think I'll tell the story, my favorite story that relates back to this. So we're in San Jose, and we're in an amphitheater, and it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's a 4-day teaching. And the way the Dalai Lama talks is he's just so animated and engaging and fun. His energy is just so magnetic. But he doesn't speak in English when he's doing his teachings. He speaks in Tibetan. And then he has a Tibetan translator who does this beautiful job of taking what he said and putting it into English or whichever other language his audience needs. And we're sitting there in this open air amphitheater, and it's 2.5 days in, and we're drifting because the Dalai Lama is very animated, but the interpreter's voice is very calm, very soothing. A lot of us are experiencing it from a very calm, dozy place. And then suddenly the Dalai Lama breaks into English, and he says, what all of this means is, nothing has meaning except that which we give it.
Kind of a foundation.
The Heart Sutra, nothing has meaning except that which we give it. And this whole idea, actually, I might be conflating. That one concept, though, of we are meaning-making machines. Our brains are so ready to label things as good or bad, even if they're not judgeable in that way. We have such black and white decision making in that level, and what somebody said or didn't say has an enormous number of interpretations. So to be able to look at Squid and recognize the first impression that we get, we feel stunned. One of my favorite examples, you got two people walking toward each other in the pre-COVID era when that was a thing that we did. And one is about to talk to the other one, and the other one just walks past. And we ask the students, so what happened? And the students are saying, well, he ignored her, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And there's all this interpretation. And the only thing we actually have is that they walked past each other. We do not know why. We can ascribe possibilities. He was distracted, he was in pain, he was whatever was true, but we only have those possibilities. We don't have absolute certainty.
Dr. Mel, speaking of possibility,
yeah,
Alex is here to say hello to you.
Alex.
Hello. Hi. Hello to everybody.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Jaime, Alex, you too. Say something in Spanish to each other. Where are you from?
Okay.
Hola,
Hola, soy de México. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Tú de dónde eres?
también yo de México, de Nayarit. ¿Estás en México ahorita o vives en...
No, estoy en Seattle.
Ah, ok. ¿Y de qué parte de México eres?
Zacatecas. ¿Tú?
Nayarit.
Ah, ok. Muy bien. Muy
Mucho
bien.
gusto.
Bienvenida.
anybody else
Igualmente,
Gracias.
mucho gusto.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hello to everybody. I just joined for 2 seconds just to congratulate because of the lunch and the party and because of your birthday celebration. I'm at work right now, so that's why I just joined on my break.
Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for figuring out the tech. And yes, Lucas, we've had people going to the old link and not being able to get in, and I was able to catch Alex's message.
Yeah.
So we should open the old link and send people here from there.
Okay, so just let me sing you the mañanitas.
Yes,
well,
please.
oh my God, I'm seeing that it's recorded. Okay, so please everybody cover your ears because I don't know if I will damage your ears, but I sing it with a lot of love. Okay, so estas son las mañanitas que cantaba Alejandrita, Amel tan bonita, se las cantamos así. Despierta, mi Mel, despierta, mira que ya amaneció, ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió, qué linda está la mañana en que vengo a saludarte. Venimos todos con gusto y placer a felicitarte. Ya viene amaneciendo, ya la luz del día nos dio. Levántate, Mel, levántate,
Mira que ya amaneció. Tan, 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 tan. And that's the short version because we have a longer one.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, it's the third time that the Mañanitas were singing here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mel. Happy birthday to you. And congratulations to everybody for joining to this meeting and project. I'm proud to belong to it. And I'm proud meeting our tribe. Thank you very much.
This is our tribe. Alex, we will see you again soon. I cannot with you. I need your help. I need your help.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. Good luck with the rest of the day at work. We'll be here.
Yeah.
We'll be here till midnight.
I know. So I will try to join later. Also, I have another event, a cultural event about Mexico. We're going to have a stand showing it there. So yeah, I'm quite busy, but I'm trying to make some time to join. Okay.
Hugs to the kid. Mwah. Bye.
Mwah. Thank you. Thank you. Hello to everybody, and thanks for your patience. I just joined and I have to go. I have to go back to work. Okay. Bye-bye. Love you all, guys.
So
happy birthday. Congratulations. Thanks. So excited.
Mel.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
No.
Yeah, I don't know how to leave the meeting.
It's a trick. It's a trick.
We'll kick you out.
Okay, yeah, kick me out. Oh, yeah, I saw the button. Okay, bye-bye.
Tap, tap, tap.
Have a great party. Bye.
Thank you. It's better now.
Bye.
So Mel, it's past my bedtime.
It is past your bedtime.
Normally not, but my sleeping schedule, I think like everybody who's been involved in this project has been haywire the last week.
We have been on the global clock time of all of the time. So Thorn, thank you enormously for having been through so much of this event and all of the lead up to it. Can you join us for the last hour?
I am. It's on my.
And get here in time for the picture at the 1 hour mark. So that'll be 8 a.m. for you. Get here 7:55 and you're in the shot.
I will be there. I will be there.
Thank you, Thorn, for your gentle questioning and understanding my story. I appreciate you so much.
Listen, everyone will appreciate your story, and everyone deserves. Oh no, you deserve to have everyone be gentle with your story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very courageous of you to put it out there.
One of the things that I regularly look at with the nature of how we reprocess things, and in psychology, the concept of reframing. I'm a huge fan of reframe things until they don't suck. So we have the concept of making lemonade out of the lemons, making fertilizer out of the shit. Stuff will go on and it will hurt. And it's how do you take what's happened and do the best you can with it? Surviving something means that you survived. And in that place of having survived, you have the opportunity for helping others. You have the opportunity for not just post-traumatic stress disorder, but there's this concept of post-traumatic growth. And it's a term, but it's such a beautiful term and it's almost not known. So please, in the notes, put this out there somewhere. The basic phrasing of it gives you so much of a possibility. Post-traumatic stress disorder says you're broken. You have a disorder because you have had trauma. Post-traumatic growth says you can have trauma and you can grow from it. It does not subtract the trauma. It says that you have room for transcending it so that it is not controlling your life. It still controls a lot of the pieces of our brains. But have you ever heard that term before? Beth, here's the mic.
No.
Take it.
So I often tell people that I was in victim mode for years. And once I went through therapy, I went from victim mode to survivor mode, which is what got me out of kind of the post-traumatic stress syndrome thing that a lot of people go through when they've been through that kind of trauma. So I consider myself a survivor now, not a victim.
Thank you. It's a great way. I mean, it's two different words, right? It's just two different sounds coming out of our mouths, and yet the meaning. And we're right back around to, where do we put the meaning? Well, I feel better being a survivor than I do being a victim.
Yep.
Language is a tool of perception.
Exactly.
Oh, and such a powerful one, because most of the ink that we're talking about when we talk about squirting ink involves the words.
Yep.
It,
So listen, I'm gonna take a cue out of Thorn, or from Thorn rather, and say goodnight also, because my squid is telling me I'm tired.
It's in the same time zone as me.
Hi,
I'm gonna
Lucas.
squirt sleep ink on them.
Yep. So really quickly, Thorn, you are in what part of the Czech Republic?
I am about 2 hours out of Prague in a place called České Budějovice. And Lucas, I don't know if you've been there or not, but it's gorgeous. I'll just give you one. I'll give you one example of why I am here and not in the United States. There is a guy
Sure,
with
there are many more.
just one example. There's a guy with a 200-gallon barrel on wheels, motorized, who comes around every other morning sucking cigarette butts off the street.
What?
So and Lucas, what part of Poland are you in?
Poznan. That's about a 2 to 3 hour train ride from Warsaw
Okay.
to the west.
Thank you. And before you guys sign off for the night, is there anything you want to say about what possessed you to decide this is where you want to spend your time? Because you guys have just both put in a lot of time and energy on not just this event, but the whole idea of SQUIDminders. Why? Lucas, here's the mic. Say it.
I was going to say, Thorn, you want to go first, but sure, yeah. There is this concept of memes, and our internet culture has limited it very much. So today, when anybody says meme, what do you picture? You picture a funny picture, right? But meme comes from gene, and memes are ideas that evolve and propagate, just like genes evolve and propagate. And I am fascinated by the transmission and the evolution of ideas and language also. And what Mel has crafted in Squid is a little language packet of information that conveys an idea, which I think is very helpful, like I said in a couple of the comments I made earlier, and that can really change individual lives and also enable or improve the way we conduct our biggest and most challenging projects. So now the challenge here that I find really daunting, but also fascinating, is how the hell do you get to take those 5 letters and implant them into every brain on the planet within a finite amount of time?
I'm glad you're on that problem.
Sorry?
I'm glad you're on that problem.
Well, we are. There's no ready answer yet, but we have pieces of the solution, I think. And part of it is Mel talking about the work that Abhi and others will be doing in India. If you listen carefully over the last couple hours, there were bits and pieces of taking this to children because they will more readily absorb it, but also taking it to existing communities, existing organisms of people like Wikipedia and other communities. So I think the pieces are there and slowly emerging, but there's still a lot of work to be done until we can say, yep, it's propagating. And at some point with these things, they're like viruses in the positive sense. At some point where you reach the critical mass of brains, it just completes itself, right? Because it's contagious. And so in a way, my fascination comes from this problem of social engineering. How do we build this virus so that it infects all the brains on the planet? Because it works with the bad stuff, right? Fake news, conspiracy theories, lots of bullshit. It works, and it doesn't take much effort. For some reason, it is much harder to build it from the good stuff. And I think, Mel, this little nugget that you have made of language is one of the best. So how do we package it so that it's infectious? This is my thing.
I have a quick answer for you, because you're naming one of the biggest problems, but also one of the simplest solutions. Anybody who is willing to put on this hat, which is conveniently available through Alibaba and very inexpensive, if you are in any location where there are other human beings and you put on this hat, you immediately have attention. What you do with it after that is up to you. But once you have attention, you have the opportunity. And where people are reachable, Squid is teachable.
There, the slightly cynical and very tired part of me would add, I have their attention in about 5 minutes until social services arrive to take me away. But
depends on the context. You can get away with this in a lot of festival environments.
That is very true.
Thank you.
I will also add that this virality of ideas is something that we need to do to more than just Squid. There's a lot more good ideas that need to be scaled and propagated to other brains, and that's what I started kind of working on because of you, Mel, because I've had this concept in my head of apps for your neck top, this thing that you carry, and I've started, because of the work we're doing, thinking about, okay, how can we streamline it? Is there a way to transmit these ideas to what we would in the IT business call early adopters? Is there a group of early adopters of ideas that we can reach, and then see what happens after that? So
I love the neck top and the idea of installing Squid as a wetware upgrade on our neck top applications.
Mm-hmm. We just need to figure out the installation part.
Yeah, luckily it's shareware.
Yes. Yes.
So Lucas, thank you for all of that. We're going to see you in a few hours. Thorn, before you wrap up, what do you want to say to help us understand why you're here?
Beethoven was asked why he wrote music. He said, to change the world. And that was not arrogance. That was just a simple statement of intent. And in fact, and indeed he did. And I like this group because a tagline that I've always used is, I have a literary website and following, and people say, well, why do you write? And I said, well, to save the world. Now, you could make it very petite and say, well, because if you write, you have the ability to influence people with your ideas, and you're going to be able to reach some of those people. So you're asleep by the time you get to the end of the sentence. So let's just get it straight. We're all here to save the world. It needs a little assist. So that's what I'm here, and also because I enjoy seeing that we have more in common than our pain. And this is a vehicle for us to express that. So I think what I would like to leave you with is the philosophy that works for me. We are all conformists. But the difference between people is whether it is to their fears or their desires that they conform. I desire to see this organization change the world. That's it for me. Good night.
Love, love, love. Thank you so much, Thor, and thank you,
Hi, Lucas.
Bye-bye. Paul,
you,
I'm going to
thank
be
you.
in touch with you.
Yeah, thanks for
That's it.
representing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, I hope you're
Let's
okay
go
with
to
that.
this.
I took your email address. I want to talk to you.
Sounds good.
I love bringing the connections together. That's awesome.
Okay.
Bye,
Good-
guys. Thanks
good
for keeping
morning,
Europe
good
in the
night.
picture for this long.
Good
night.
night. See you next time.
Yeah.
See you in a few hours. 8 a.m.
I'll try.
Make it for the picture, then you can leave.
Yes. Okay, good. Bye.
John,
All right.
now John is asking if you know Fapayed.
Let's go with probably.
Okay, hold on.
I know a lot of really interesting people with names that don't look like they came out of an American Bible.
Let's find out.
Do you have an issue with my biblical history?
I do not. Okay. So, who is in the house? I see iPhone 14, but I'm not yet sure.
I didn't know they had an iPhone 14.
Fapiad, welcome. We have put the feelers out in many directions, and I do not know which connection you and I have.
He's been trying to get his mic. He can chat though.
You can chat. Go for it.
Chat his greeting.
Greetings. Hello. Welcome. You can hear us. So put something in the chat. Tell us, how do we know you? I did not recognize your name on the way in, but we have lots of names involved.
Dr. Mel, maybe you should just invent a history between you and Fapayed, right?
Fapayed is actually in the room behind me as a distractor from whatever it was we were about to do next.
It's a new technology for rendering your alter ego.
That's it. And we are all interconnected. So
Like it's a verb, Paul, like I got Fapayed.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, Ricardo Ariola and Natalia Ufer.
I do not know.
Would you like me to check them?
I know a Natalia, I know a Ricardo, but I'm not sure if it's those two. Go for it.
I'm going to check them.
You know, worst case, if we are accepting people who came here to bomb, let's love on them the way you have taught us to love on bombers. And if they are our peeps already, then they are not here to bomb.
If not, we'll use Santa and a cookie to track them.
Exactly.
Beth was there.
I wasn't there for it, but I was there right after it. It was pretty funny.
I did miss the part where there was bombers, right?
Yes.
Bye,
Okay, Ricardo disappeared, so that took care of that. Tessa has been here the whole time.
Hi,
Hasn't said
Tessa.
anything.
I do not know if Tessa's at work right now or not. Are you at work?
She has no audio, so she
She
can't.
has no audio. Okay. So Tessa is another friend from the local region. She and I met over in on the peninsula, Oak Harbor, and had that bonding moment of I get you. Oh, I get you. So she has been one of my SQUIDminders supporters and guinea pigs for Squidly activities.
How about Juliana Gutierrez?
Yes. Jules is in the house.
Let's bring her in, Juliana.
OMG.
Welcome, Juliana. Let's see if you can unmute and say hello.
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 We have audio. Do we have any camera? How about a camera?
How about a camera? How about, yeah. I am seeing a white square of potential. So while we have new people arriving and may or may not be on, let's talk, Paul, John, you, the three of us have Microsoft in our background. Beth, did you spend time working at Microsoft at any point in your life?
No, but I use Microsoft products.
That was the next question I was going to ask you. So Here are a couple of the guys who made that possible.
Cool.
What do you have to say about your experience using Microsoft products over the years?
Sometimes easy, sometimes confounding as hell. Now I'm mostly an Apple-based person, so when I go back to a PC and Microsoft stuff, I'm like,
I was going to say, I thought that those responses were like some of the people who've dated me.
There's gratitude in there.
oh my God, that's hilarious, Paul. I feel that way about some of the people I've dated and been married to too.
Is there a tech support when we have problems?
I mean,
good idea. It's a really good idea.
Help. I mean, I've had help with Microsoft in the past from people, and also just having people in my life that understood it. My second husband was deeply involved in things. He didn't ever work for anybody that he did it, and he was a brilliant brain. Unfortunately, he didn't use it for good, but he easily could have worked for Microsoft. But he was writing code and stuff that nobody thought could be done before Microsoft with bulletin board systems.
Wow.
So I, followed him around with some of that stuff, and then Microsoft came into play. My second husband, his brother was in Microsoft in the early days when I think they were actually building like building number 3.
Yep.
And remember walking in and seeing all those CPUs, I think is what they're called. And it was all these huge fans because those things got super duper hot. So, I was around the edges of the beginnings of Microsoft. Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting time. So
yes.
I thought one of you had suggested, maybe Mel, you were saying tech support. I thought tech support for relationship issues. That seems
that
like
is exactly what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
So one of the concepts that we're working on with this whole idea of WikiKind.
¿Eso qué? ¿Eso te va a hacer viral, famosa o qué pretendes? ¿Qué flojera da, niñas?
That would be Julia.
Aprende a lavarte los calzones primero.
A bomber or just someone that doesn't realize they have music on?
I don't know. I'll find out.
Oh, the music's off. Or you muted them. Okay.
I moved
I will
them.
let you go and have your conversation, John.
Yeah, I think maybe she just didn't realize her music was on.
So vouching for people is definitely an interesting challenge.
Right.
Ricardo.
Nice muscles, Ricardo.
Okay.
Yes. Zoom bombers happen, and I think this is the bewitching hour at the moment.
I
Depending on
guess.
where people are from. This is global, so
Yeah.
as long
It's
as
a
they're not doing
theme.
porn, we're all good. Because I've been
at one of those.
subjected to that, and
Pennies.
it was not good. It was like, oh.
So John, in answer to your question, no, I'm not sure.
Your mom is a bitch.
Somebody says something like your monster's a.
I think it's a really good reflection that
Ricardo, I don't know this Ricardo. I don't know this Julia, and I don't know. You guys can introduce yourselves and say why you're here and how, if you want to put it in the chat. But we've already had some problems with Zoom bombing, so if you're here to bomb,
we're
we'll
going
do
to kick
another
out.
Well, Dr. Mel, I'd like to.
Squid gummy. It's
Right, Ricardo. Good luck, Ricardo. And you are going to get reported to Zoom in 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
Vanished. Anyway.
Dr. Mel, this is the. Hey, this is how we take care of Zoom bombers.
okay.
John is a pro.
We click
100% pro.
John,
We
I
report
got a question
them.
for you.
We
On the
report
Zoom
their
bomber.
IP address. We get them kicked off of Zoom. Because it's your birthday, Dr. Mel. No one should screw with you.
Hey, freaking man.
Okay, so John, I have an important question for you, a challenge, if you will. So it occurs to me that when I receive a phone call from somebody who is telemarketing, when I receive a phone call from somebody who is not on a list of people I was looking to talk to, when I get an inquiry, a Facebook friend request from somebody who wants to know how single am I, the messages that I am getting are coming from other human beings who have chosen to spend their time doing what they are doing to interact with me. We have these Zoom bombers who have chosen to spend this particular piece of their time doing this particular thing where they are interacting with whoever they are bombing, for example, us. So Ricardo, if you're still listening, why? What is the incentive to come and interact in that way, as opposed to being able to come and participate in a conversation and feel welcomed and loved? And how do we respond to people who frustrate us from a place of love instead of just shutting the door? John, you were telling me in one of our planning meetings about how you reverse bombed. And I really want you to tell that story here. What can we as Zoom organizers do to give love back to the people who choose to be Zoom bombers?
Well, Paul, I'll teach this. I'll tell this story in squid form, which is when Zoom bombers normally come in and you're not prepared, you don't even stop. I guess the only thing you do stop is actually stop the whole freaking meeting because you don't know what else to do, because you'd lost control. So Zoom meetings, like your brain, have the exact same capability that if you don't know the right buttons to push, things to do, or things to say, or actions to take, your only option is to completely shut down. And the problem with shutting down is that all your other systems shut down. Everybody who was with you in that conversation also no longer gets to participate. And you probably know, I don't know, Dr. Mel, have you ever heard the 6 human needs?
I've probably heard a lot of different versions of it. You go for it.
The 6 human needs says this, is like everybody does something for a reason, right? So here, let's go do this, right? Okay, if you take your mom to the hospital, what kind of reason or need are you meeting for yourself?
Being a good child.
Yeah, okay, good, yeah, see, right, and you get it, hopefully your mom will come back and say thank you, right? I mean, it doesn't always happen, but yeah, at least you know in your heart, right, I did a good thing. Julia Selena, that's the same person. Okay, I'm gonna leave her there. All right, so the next part is Julia Selena, by the way, if you can hear me. Oh, there you go, look, it's like she could hear me. She actually disappeared from the waiting room.
Oh.
I wonder if she's watching the live stream.
Julia, so Julia, we're gonna keep talking about
you.
And if you weren't here for joining the conversation in a regular way, then the question we're left with is what did you want?
Yeah, so something, okay, so like, yeah, Paul, well, so Mel, if somebody joins a gang or robs a bank, what need does it fulfill?
Could be attention.
And?
Money.
For a bank, it's money, yeah.
Yeah, significance, money, right? Simple things like that. So that's in the everybody does something for a reason. If you have a Michelle that's going to join, she's going to have to wait. Okay, good. So
what's Michelle's last name?
No last name.
No last name. Okay.
So the second part that comes with this is that, so how do I handle it? So the first thing is that you learn the tools like that. Michelle just left. That's how, like, we just wait. She's probably listening to the live stream going, oh, he's not going to let me in anyways. So the best
I do
part
have some Michelles that did want to come though, so.
Well,
Hey,
you still come back then.
Yeah, if anybody wants to get in and is trying to get in legitimately, hang out in the waiting room. We'll finish the story and then we'll let you in. And then you can explain to us why you want to be here in normal human tones.
So the second thing is then you learn how to battle Zoom bombers, which is you come back in. And so the move I've been using with them is to remove them. So they come in, they do some disturbing behavior, but I've already rehearsed enough to know that I know what to do, right? When you train, right? So that you do this, you stop, you question, right? You understand what's happening. You imagine what you could do, right? And then decide, to me, says that you rehearse the thing so that when it happens, that you can do it quickly. Because the one thing that happens is you still get triggered. Don't get me wrong. I still get the adrenaline rush. Sometimes my hands are shaking. Sometimes you can't find the right control. But because you've trained or thought about or rehearsed an option in your head, you're more likely to be able to do it in the moment. So like if someone says you're ugly, you're stupid, or you're fat, right? If you have no defenses to it, the first thing you do is shut down, right? I like that, all right? We have nothing to do except shut down the meeting. But once you learn defenses for it, you can say, you know, you have responses to it, right? You're fat, well, at least I'm not stupid, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's like the rehearsal for this whole thing. So now, then you get into imagination. This is really, I mean, like, let's play John Lennon right now. It's so great that Abby sang this earlier, which is, you imagine what could happen. So Beth heard about this story, but basically in August, we were doing rehearsals with a Santa Claus. He was fully dressed up as Santa. And one of my other friends had Snap Camera on, and he was a chocolate chip cookie. Right, so you know how Snap Camera can basically change you everything, but it's following his eyes and his mouth, and so you basically have a chocolate chip cookie talking. So somebody came in and actually Zoom bombed the meeting, and so we threw them out, and then they came back in the waiting room like these people did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody, they came back. I mean, like, how dumb are you? So I said, do you want to reverse Zoom bomb somebody for the first time? And there was like 14 people in the room, and they all said, yeah, let's do it. So I had everyone except Santa and the cookie turn their camera off, right? And I said, stay unmuted, because what happens when I remove the mute control, if you mute, you won't be able to unmute, okay? Now the second thing is when I tell you, we're all gonna do the same thing. So they come in, and so all they do is come into a meeting and they see Santa and a cookie, right? They come in with no camera, and not 60 seconds later, after the Santa and the cookie are having a descriptive, thing, there's all this swearing, racial words, right? Disturbing in the meeting. And so what I did with then, right, is like, imagine what would happen if we took control back. What happens if you reverse Zoom bomb a Zoom bomber? And so what we did was we muted them, and we also turned off the ability for them to unmute. Now everybody turned on their cameras, right? And then they started proceeding. Every single one of them was talking at the same time, telling them what bad children they were. And then Santa Claus counted off, and we all sang, "Here Comes Santa Claus" to them. And they stayed in. They could have left the meeting, right? Because I actually used the lock meeting function, but it means you can leave, you just can't get in. But they were so busy trying to hit the unmute button that they never left. So they had to get subjected to this, right? And one of the kids has like a stocking over his head with a Nazi symbol on it. Right? So we can actually see his video. And so we took a screenshot of him, and not only did he get reverse Zoom bombed, right after that we went to Twitter, posted his picture, and said, what's worse than Zoom bombing Santa Claus? Getting reverse Zoom bombed by Santa Claus and a cookie. Here's to you. Wait till your friends find out that you got reverse Zoom bombed.
It's hilarious.
And there you go. So there we decide. And so, they're trying to fulfill this purpose of disturbing meetings, but, the best part is what happens when people are smart enough to reverse disturb them. We have also done things such as played them Teletubby videos. My favorite is that we lock them in and then share screen and play Baby Shark.
Which is pure evil. Evil genius.
People have laughed because they said, you know what, if people are going to be evil to you, wouldn't it be funny if you had an advanced evil response back to them? And like, nobody got harmed.
And harmless evil, yes, harmless evil.
So
there's such a thing.
Okay, so here's the challenge that in this, like, how can we get Squid to really take off and go all over the place? If we're trying to help people make better choices, wouldn't it be amazing if that same human being who just came into bomb, and we had 4, right? 4 different people just tried to log in?
Yeah.
If you guys are still out there listening in, you're still human. You still have the basic human needs that we all have of wanting to connect with other people. What if you acted like another human being that's not trying to control a meeting, disrupt a meeting, but just wants to hang out with other people and feel cared for? Because a whole bunch of this construct around squid minding is about figuring out how to take better care of each other. So can we squid that out with you? If you've had a really rotten day and you have been bombed and abused and teased and bullied by all of the other people in your life, and what you're trying to do is get your frustrations vented out by bombing, what if you had friends that wanted to talk to you and just treat you like a regular human being instead? Is that less attractive? It's a bunch of old fuddy-duddy grown-ups right now. So I'm sorry there aren't any young kids in the house, but we know that there are kids who like hanging out.
Did you just call me fuddy-duddy?
Say that again?
Did you just call me fuddy-duddy?
I did. We are fuddy-duddies. I'm sorry, my friend. You're older than me.
I'm gonna go find new friends. Then.
I will happily take the moniker Buddy Daddy. It's okay. I often use the words old lady, like sometimes I'll put old auntie tweet or old auntie advice or something on my tweets as a hashtag. I fully embrace my age.
Yeah, same here. I wish, one of the things I tell a lot of my students is I wish I could go back in time and talk to my younger self. Yep. If I could go back in time to my 12-year-old self before she really got into the complexities of puberty, there's so much I've learned since then that would have made life easier for her. All of the suffering that I didn't need to go through because my brain was so emotionally overwhelmed by not understanding how to be with other people in a way where we had a good time and not so much drama. And Paul, big shout out to you. I love you. I always will. We had our practice with drama. But the idea of being able to, I can't go back in my timeline and talk to my younger self, but I can talk to the student that's in front of me. And we have enough in common that I'm like, okay, so let me give you what I wish I could have given my younger self and see if any of it's useful to you. Let me suggest you make different mistakes than the one I made. The many that I have made, make different ones. And the number one regret, people talk about live a life with no regrets. I have one chunk of regrets that I think a lot of other people have similarly. I regret every time I hurt somebody that I cared about because I have inadvertently, unthinkingly hurt so many of the people I love. Again, Paul, thank you for being here. I love you forever. And it's that if I could go back in time and recognize how to stop and catch those moments sooner in the process so that I'm not saying the things I'm going to regret. And that's the essence of all of this, is how do we reduce the number of times we regret things? So,
yep.
True.
What if I want to increase the number of times someone regrets that they Zoom bombed my meeting?
If you want to increase the number of times they regret something, I am not sure how to do that calculus. You would have to track them down and get them to do it over and over again so that you could then start working on your tally sheets. Could you get some, you know how the best security team for preventing hackers is hackers?
Oh, of course.
Could you get some Zoom bombers to practice? How do Zoom bombers do it? What is the method of Zoom bombing? Because I don't understand the whole nature of.
It's so easy, Mel.
Just guessing. Guessing a number.
Right? Paul, yeah, tell her how. Paul, tell her how.
Yeah.
Go to Zoom and you type in a random number.
That's one way. Well, we have a password too, so it's a little harder than that.
Oh wow! So they were able to get the password version. How do they do it with a password?
Because they registered for you with some any registration, your auto system mailed them back a link.
Got it.
Now they can share it with all their friends.
Got it. Okay. And so has the number of people trying to bomb gone up over the course of the sessions?
It's gone from 1 to 4. That's a 400% increase.
Okay. Point.
Paul, you're gonna help us.
I think it's a 300% increase, but there's an off by one.
Oh, no. I was trying to do the new math.
Okay, I can't do
Paul
any
to come
math, so
in
it's
like,
all good.
show your work.
Peek out.
Show your work.
It's like when I talked back to the police officer and say, no, that was actually a different percentage that I was speeding. Yeah.
A different number. Okay, so speaking, Paul, of creativity, you have 4 minutes to help us determine the hour 14 photo. What would you like?
I'll be right back.
Do?
Oh, well, you have to be here for the picture.
I'm just going to throw laundry. I got 5 minutes. I'm just going to throw laundry in the dryer. I'll be right back.
Okay, hurry.
You have to make it 3 minutes. Go, Beth.
Dun, 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 dun.
Nothing like speed laundry. That is a thrilling thing.
I actually have music for this. Hold on. Let's see. I think I do have. Here, ready?
All right.
Go, Beth, go!
Nice. In a in a white elephant exchange, somebody a few years ago gave me this little digital synthesizer, and I use it all the time. It's got applause and.
Let's see. Do it.
All right. Like.
Oh wait, yeah. Gotta put it close to the mic.
Yeah, that was the.
I hear a ch-ch-chick like a. Oh, it's okay. It's a gun. Yeah.
It's the OK Corral one, or.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I heard that one. Oh yeah. See, Zoom's noise cancellation is killing you.
Yeah, it's not going through at all. But I want you to know, Paul, when I found John a couple of days ago, like, John, which day did I contact you? It was about 5 days ago.
Yeah, maybe
6?
Tuesday on a good, for.
Yeah, so you know, if you're going to run a 24-hour event, it's good to hire your producer about 5 days beforehand.
Well, you got the best, so that helps.
I know. And the way I found him was on the Old Timer Microsofty list on Facebook.
Old Timer.
Beth is like, yes, oldie.
Which John, we never posted this event, so we're gonna have to do it for the second event.
I've already streamed it to that group.
Oh, serious? Oh, cool. Okay, so
I'll probably get thrown off for that.
how many Microsofties does it take to block you being blocked?
Just one. He has to be a VP. Ouch.
Ow.
It's not Jay Allard anymore. Ouch, ouch. Oh, I love Jay. Jay's one of my faves.
But yeah, the whole idea of my trajectory for how I got here, this 54 years, Paul Travis got me to Seattle. Paul Travis is instrumental in why I was at Microsoft when I was.
We're gonna hear the story after the clock. I heard part of it. I want to hear the rest of it.
And
I heard a challenge of giving a photo idea, and then I've got another call it too. So I was thinking about something like this, so that everybody has the tentacles of the squid.
Okay, we're squidly. Okay, so it's you got a minute.
Okay.
You can rest.
A whole
Beth,
minute.
are you ready for squidlies?
Okay, well, oh, like this? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like this one, yeah, because we haven't done this one, Paul. So it's like the tentacles. It's like what's it? Isn't there a Star Wars character that has that too? That
sure looks like it. When you said it, I'm like, oh yeah.
There's definitely Star Wars characters.
50 seconds to
I need
tentacle.
another
beard.
headpiece though. I'm trying to change headpieces.
Oh, hurry.
Oh yeah, turn on the lights.
Wait, one of your headpieces is digital. You can't replace it with a real one.
Oh, you're right.
Yes, I can.
Never mind.
Okay.
30 seconds.
I love there's a great Stephen Wright line. It's like, yeah, one time I was walking down the street and I started talking to people. Oh no, that wasn't me.
Yeah, we met the guy from The Walking Dead, and we have to create 2-line horror stories.
Oh, nice.
Okay, 15 seconds, here we go. Put some squid things out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, pose. Nailed it. Good job, everybody.
I was floating in and out there for a second. Holy crap.
So
and now I'm going to
pleasure.
run over and like, I have some kind of white matter in my clothes. I think I must have missed something in a pocket.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I've got to go shake it out before I put it in the dryer.
Paul has a call, but he should tell us the
My life is drama, I
reaction to this
swear.
photo.
Great.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
I got both my hands in. Yay!
John, it was really great to see you again. Mel, happy birthday.
I'm
And
going to tell Joan stories about you now.
you can totally, you have liberty to do that.
I know. All right, my friend.
Namaste.
You're on until midnight. Come back anytime.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's the Me and You show right now.
It's the Me and You show.
I'm gonna
Yay.
do this while I save the photo.
Awesome.
Well, it's 14 hours here on The Squid Show. KSQUID. We're playing all the royalty-free hits here in the pandemic. Our guest host is Dr. Mel here on Squid NPR. To you, Dr. Mel.
Why, thank you, John. So here we are, kids. It is hour 14 of our 24-hour Squidathon season 1, episode 1. And John, you said you've binged. You've done the Squid Game thing. So can you and me do a 2-person dialogue about Squid Game?
Oh, yeah.
I've got Beth's door is currently on screen on our YouTube.
That's cool.
It's all good.
It's only a roof and a light, but there's still a squid on there, so I think it's good. It's fine.
Yeah.
So let's first try Let's both try a synopsis Squid Game the series, okay?
Okay.
I'll go first. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Well, Squid Games is about people who are broke. And just when you think you have no options, you find out you have a gambling problem. So you're willing to gamble your life. In one of the greatest movies that has used the cheapest props to the greatest effect of all time, you discover that 454 people are broke just like you. Damn. So you only win if you can survive 6 childhood games. Things like red light, green light. Except that when you move and you cheat in red light, green light, you're not just out, you got sniped with a headshot. But in the end, somebody wins. And it changes their life. That's my interpretation of Squid Games. How about you, Dr. Mel?
Oh, okay. So first, I'd like to respond to your interpretation and say, wow, that sounds like a blockbuster hit that's taking over the Netflix universe and has had more views than all other Netflix shows ever. And it's riveting. And but why? But why is it riveting?
That's right. That's a great question.
So here's why, in my psychological interpretation of why is Squid Game riveting. Okay. One, our human brain, for whatever reason, really likes violence. Really likes seeing people suffer.
That's been a duh, right? I mean, there's sex and violence in Hollywood. If it doesn't have sex and violence, people are like, nah.
Oh, you don't even need the sex. If you'll notice how little sex is involved in all of the blockbusters. Sex is a thing that happens over on porn.
But there's sex in Squid Games. They did it in the bathroom. Oops, spoiler alert.
Oh man, you're talking about like moments of an episode once.
So sex.
But that wasn't the draw. That was to establish character. Anyway, no spoilers. But the reason to watch Squid Game, and I'm not a fan of violence. I'm not a fan of fake violence any more than real, but I'm willing to watch something that says Squid on it because it's part of my work. And I wanted to see, why is this so mesmerizing? Why are people watching all 9 hours in one go? And it's because the combination of factors that they put together in this series, 9 episodes, Korean. So it's not even based out of Hollywood and English. It's this set of actors who have been really well selected in mesmerizingly beautiful sets that are physically constructed, not CGI.
Yeah.
And really limited use of CGI. I've gone and I've looked at the backstory about how the making of. Really good acting, beautiful graphics, beautiful music that is just eerie and mesmerizing. And then this storyline that we appear to be very fond of survival. Who will survive until the end? Hunger Games. Who will survive until the end? Running Man. Who will survive until the end? how many other, Survivor. And so we've got this storyline that works. We've got the very compelling graphics, and then this bizarre notion that survival is based on childhood games. That's where I'm like, oh, really? I wonder if we can use that, because Squid Games, it's about making better decisions.
So for me, like in my experiential training, it is like that, because you use experiential initiatives. They have to be simple enough, but they have to be profound enough for somebody to get the lesson without harming themselves or their career, right? So it is an apt metaphor with it. In the second part, I got to give a huge shout out for all the Asian Pacific Islander filmmakers, especially Korea, because they also put out, Parasite prior to that? Mm-hmm. There's something happening over there that Hollywood is missing. And it's really around storyline. Like Hollywood, this shows maybe how far Hollywood is starting to divert a little bit, that they are some of the master storytellers in the world, but they sometimes rely too much on the technology and all the other things. And we've seen disaster movies that have done that. And it's still all the great filmmakers right now. I'm actually watching Masterclass with Ron Howard, of all people.
Oh,
right. It's great. He's great because he does. I'll give him credit because he went from being Opie Cunningham to being a superior storyteller.
Oh, top of the top, yeah.
Top of the top, right? He's great at it, and it's because he did say that. He says everything is dedicated to the story, and he talks about the iteration of taking that story through multiple processes. Even RoboCop, right? I'm actually watching the Netflix series about the behind-the-scenes story of RoboCop.
Nice.
And the number of times they rewrote RoboCop before they actually shot it and while they were shooting it was like in the hundreds. It was a lot. And wow. People don't realize that to get a great story. And again, that's not like Academy Award winning, but that was a hit. People watched RoboCop and it became a cult classic. And it had all these things inside of it. And I really think that that's one thing that the Koreans are kind of redefining. I think that's what's really key. So.
One of the things you just said is, Hollywood isn't, but Asia is. And this is one of the things I love about it. And humans are recognizing that Hollywood is not the one and only source. So it still comes through a distribution system that is based in the US. Thank you, Netflix. But distribution is different from production. And to be able to get producers from everywhere around the world into distribution channels that are global, it's fantastic to see this interplay of factors. It took them, I think Squid Games has been in development for 8 or 9 years itself.
Yeah.
So has SQUIDminders.
Yeah.
And that sense of we didn't know each other existed. I know they existed. They don't know about us yet. But right here, right now, I'd like to do a huge shout out to the entire team of Squid Game. We love you. Oh my God, congratulations. Who knew that it would go not just from release, but top of the charts. And I understand you guys are working on what happens next, season 2 and all of the derivative works and all